guys at the new house. I need to do a live, I know I do. But that's not our pool, that's the neighbor's pool, but that's all ours. And our new fence. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to Unicorn Dust Designs. My name is Sammy. On this channel we do DIYs, wood signs, and there's always tons of laughter. Today I'm doing a huge mega video of all of 2022 Christmas DIYs, and most of them are using wood, which I know you guys have been enjoying lately. You guys know, most of you know anyways, if you're new to my channel, I just moved into a new home. Life is absolutely chaotic. So if y'all could help me out, play this video in the background while you're cleaning, while you're crafting. It'll really help my channel out. I appreciate all of you so much for hanging tight, and there will be a new video on Saturday. So thank you guys for watching, and let's get into it. We're gonna start out with this silver tray that I got at Salvation Army, and I'm going to give it a good coat of this matte clear by Rust-Oleum. I feel like when you have a slick surface like this, it just helps having something for the paint to attach to. Sorry about my awesome filming while doing over here. My Salvation Army has an entire section full of just all this silver stuff, and they're usually a tan tag, so when that goes 50% off, I usually get like the most like ornate things I could find. So now that it's nice and matte, I am going to grab White Swan by DIY Paint, and I am going to use a synthetic brush for this. And the reason I'm gonna do that versus using like a chippy brush like I usually do is because I want to I don't want the paint brush strokes, and this is going to give me a little bit smoother of a finish on this. All of my DIY paints, you guys know the drill, will be down in the description box. I get them from upcycledbybrie.com. And after I'm done with this, I'm not going to paint the back because we are going to distress this down. You're going to see the silver peeking through, so I didn't feel a need to paint the back. I'm going to do 2 coats of this. I'm going to completely let it dry. Then I am going to grab my polyacrylic, or sorry, I'm going to sand it first. I'm taking just a rough sanding sponge from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just de-stress it down so that you can see some of that silver and some of that detail. Look at how pretty that is. I'm gonna go all excuse me, you guys. I'm gonna go all around the edges, and then I tried to get inside to hit some of those little humps you see on there. I tried my best, but it didn't come out as distressed as I would have liked it. So now that that's done, I clean it off. I'm going to take my water-based polyacrylic. You want to make sure you're using water-based so it doesn't yellow your paint. And then I go and use a chip brush anyways. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to be using an Orchid Designs transfer. On their transfer sheet, they say to clear your piece first. Now, I know that you don't have to clear it, but I rather be safe than sorry. So I'm going to take my transfers, and I already knew when I saw this transfer book that this transfer had to go on this silver tray. Now I get my transfers, all my IOD stuff from Vonda at thepaintedheirloom.com. I always leave her link down in the description box. And if you're a new customer, then use UNICORN10 for a discount. So I am cutting this down. I couldn't fit the last part on, but I'll save that, and you never know, I could use it later. Now, learn from me, you guys. I think because I had put the clear on and I literally just dried it with my heat gun and then went straight for the transfer, it started bringing up my paint. So I would say let your clear coat cure for a little bit and then go in with your transfer. So you can see I am just using one of my vinyl spatula, I don't know what these are called, things. You could also, they come with like a little plastic thing to rub them down. I always prefer lifting my transfer up as I am pulling back on it. I feel like it helps release the transfer a little more. Now, I know not everybody is going to be able to go afford to get this. You could always just take the bones of this and you can use, decoupage. You can print on your printer and do the Mod Podge hack of transferring your image. So just use the bones of this. If IOD is something that's not in your budget right now, that's totally fine. I'm here to inspire and give you guys ideas, and then you can go and make them your own. So now that I am done and this has completely released, I'm going to take a piece of that carrier paper and I am going to burnish this on. So what I'm doing right here is I'm just kind of pressing that in to my paint. I'm making sure it's all down and it's not going to pill up or go anywhere. And then I clear it with some matte. And you guys, look at how gorgeous. Seriously, when I saw this in the release, I thought of this silver tray right away, and it looks gorgeous on here. It is so fitting. Let me know if you think this was a good image for this tray. All right, I found these at Savers, and I was like, well, first off, I mean, they're perfect. They're wood. There's nothing you can't do with wood, y'all. So I'm gonna take these off. I took them outside and I completely sanded the top off. I didn't, you guys, I just had to show you this. So, when you see something on Pinterest, it said take acrylic latex caulking and you can use it to make molds, all that stuff. And then, I mean, that's all I really saw on Pinterest. I didn't actually read the Pinterest post. So I had my husband pick this up for me. I start doing it. One, it is a complete mess. Then I start reading the caulking tube, or what is this? Yeah, it's caulking. And it says it takes like 5 to 7 days to dry. I just thought I would show you guys my little oopsie there, okay? All right, so now I'm taking, this is the new IOD Christmas molds. I am taking cornstarch and I am going to put that in my molds. This is going to help release the clay or whatever you're using from your mold. So I am trying a different clay this time. I am trying paper clay, and I have to say, I liked it a lot. It was super soft and it was easy to work with. I will say though, when you see me do these next ones, the snowflakes, it was so soft that at times when I was pulling the clay, like across the image, it was kind of pulling it back up on me. So, and then you guys, if you guys actually read, because I hardly do, I just say, oh, I can do that. On the IOD like molds on the back, it shows them using like a spatula over it to like press them down. And that's where I got this idea to use my little white thing here. Yeah, I was like, oh wow, this makes it so much easier. So you could see how it keeps kind of like lifting. It's just so soft. And I think that air dry clay kind of is heavier. I don't know. I'm not like a mold or clay expertise person, okay? But I got it to go down. I leave this to dry overnight in the molds. I read your guys' comments, and I was having a lot of issues with my air dry clay cracking, and y'all said leave it in the mold to dry. So that's what I did with the paper clay. And I have to say, this is going to sound so silly, but it really did look like I got paper and like wadded it up and wet it and let it dry. That sounds so silly because it's paper clay, so obviously. But anywho, so the little excess, like little bits that were hanging off, I just got my weeding tool and kind of like, what am I doing? Like pressing, kind of sanding it off with that. The details on these snowflakes are so fine that I could not get sanding paper in there. So this is how I chose to do it. Now I'm taking my Star Bond glue and I'm going to use this to adhere my molds. And the reason I'm doing this one instead of like the Tight Bond wood glue that I usually use or hot glue is because the glue is so thin on this one that I'm able to hit all of those little details, and it doesn't like come out from under it. So you could see how I'm able to get all those little tiny pieces, and then when I lay it down onto my wood piece, I don't have a bunch of it coming like out from under the mold. And then I also have the accelerator, and this I was able to like push down on the mold, spray this, and then it like instantaneously dries when it hits that. So as you can see, I only sanded the top of these. I wanted that beautiful old like stained wood still on there. I'm going to take some painter's tape off those edges, and then I'm going to grab, I think this color is Sailor by DIY Paints, and I am going to take a stencil brush from Dollar Tree, and we are going to apply this to the top. Now, I didn't, of course, like I usually do, want the brush strokes. So I start stippling this on. And if you guys have watched my channel before, then I'm sorry if it sounds like I repeat myself, but there might be new viewers on here. So I like to use this stencil brush because all of those little bristles, those wire hairs, they get into all of the little nooks and crannies, all of those beautiful details, so that none of that white is showing. And then you can see with the DIY paints, they're clay-based, so they look dark when they're wet, but you can see as it's drying down, it shows up this beautiful soft blue, which I love. Now I'm going to grab my DIY white wax. Y'all know I'm obsessed with the wax, and I am just going to dust it over the snowflakes. I do not want to touch the paint in the background. I really want these snowflakes to pop out at you. So that is why I chose to just do these snowflakes versus the entire piece. And you can just see all of that beautiful detail that comes out. It seriously shocks me how they're able to get all of these details into a mold. Crazy. Now I'm going to take the deer one, and I am going to take Cashew by Waverly, and I am going to do the same thing. Stencil brush, I'm going to start stippling around there to get all of those details in there, and then we are going to take the DIY dark wax. Look at this. It's delicious. And we are going to dust that over. Look at, oh my gosh, I just love how this stuff brings out all of the features of these molds. Anything that has texture on it, you guys know I'm all about. So then I just wipe the excess off with a paper towel, and that is good to go. And look at the framed out. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, now we're gonna put the tops back in there. And you guys, I know not everybody's gonna like just have these lying around. You can use real wood pieces like 1x4s cut up, or you could even use, Dollar Tree has some wood pieces kind of similar to this, and those hooks, they sell those at the hardware store. So there's another option if you don't have these. Now I'm cutting up my pillowcase that you guys see me use quite often. I'm going to take my IOD stamps, and I actually got this idea from Sonnet's Garden and Bloom. I forgot what she made, but she made tags like this, and I was like, okay, this is going to be the perfect little subtle addition to our, I'm gonna call them ornaments maybe. So I put my stamp on there. I'm gonna fray the edges with my weeding tool just so it doesn't look so clean and crisp. That's not my style whatsoever. And you guys, if you, what am I doing now? Oh, and then I'm just gonna tie this on, and that's done. And you can use these in tiered trays. I even thought these would be great gifts, and you could put a personalized message on the back with paint pen, or even hand write it and then Mod Podge it to the back. Oh my gosh, how sweet of a gift would that be? And I think that they turned out so good. I'm all about the details on this one. I hope it inspired you to make this in some way or another. Now we're gonna grab that pillowcase once again, okay? You guys, save everything. You never know when you're gonna use it. I'm gonna grab this. This has been hanging around my basement for a long time. I think it was $4.99 at Savers. Savers is the jam now, you guys. Like, compared to Salvation Army and Goodwill, like Savers definitely has the better prices if you have one in your state. So I'm going to pull this all out. We are not touching that frame. That frame is gorga, okay? Now I'm going to take that glass piece. I like how I used my rotary blade. It was so dull. I was trying to be fancy for you guys. That's what I was trying to do. I was like, look at me. I like have sewing tools. I didn't even know what to call it. Okay, so sorry, you guys. I ended up just using my fabric scissors and cutting it out. You want to make sure that you're using some kind of, you want overlap on this, because you can also do this with a picture frame as well if you do not necessarily have one of these. So I'm going to use some tape and tape it down. Then I'm going to grab another transfer. I was on like a black and white kick right here, you guys. But it's definitely my style. This like neutral color background with the black, totally my style. Now I'm just trying to find the position of where it would show in the frame. Now, these transfers have tack on them. So it is sticking to my fabric. Then I use this little plastic thing. It was working, but I switched it up to this metal like spatula, and let me tell you, man, once I switched it to that, this transfer was adhering to the fabric so well. And you guys, you don't need to put anything on the fabric. Like, I didn't clear this. There's no paint on it, nothing. This transfer is just going directly on to this fabric, which is amazing. So you can use this on any type, I don't want to say any type of fabric because I don't know that, but a lot of different fabrics. Now, once I got that off, I did burnish it. I don't think I showed that. I did burnish it. Then I'm laying it on top of my glass piece. Now, I didn't get this super straight, but you know, I got it kind of straight. And when you're doing something like this, you want to get that fabric as tight as you can. So I'm starting with the top. I am going over, I'm just using hot glue, and then I'm going to pull that fabric down as hard as I can, and then apply another thing of hot glue, and I'm using my silicone spatula. I have like a 5-pack or something of these in my Amazon store, and I'm pulling that towards the center so that it's nice and tight. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side as well. And then I'm going to pop this back in. I don't know about you guys. You guys might have one of these in your home. My grandma always had one on her dresser with all of her perfumes in it. It's so nostalgic for me. And I'm definitely keeping this because of that. It just brings back memories of my childhood. And so I just put the inserts back in, and then we're done. I did not want to touch the frame at all. I thought it made it look regal. You could see it. It's a little crooked, but it's all right. It's mine. It adds pizzazz to it is what I'm going to say. But I think that it just looks really regal with the deer head and then those colors, and it's that patina on there. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. All right, now we're going to try something different. So I'm going to take this box. So I posted for my members asking them what I should do with this box, and I showed them the image I was going to use. Y'all said that you wanted me to keep the box basically as is. But you know how like when you ask like your spouse like, hey, where should we go for dinner? And they actually respond, and then you're like, no, let's go here for dinner. That's basically what I did with this, okay? So this is what it looked like before. If any of you guys were wondering, I'm going to take it outside, spray it with a red spray paint, and then I am going to clear it. Now I come back inside, I take my sanding block, and I tried distressing the edges, but since I applied the clear coat to it, it wasn't really happening for me. So I do end up going in later and distressing it with white. Now I'm going to tape the inside of the frame off right here. And I am going to use that white swan by DIY. Now, make sure you always read the instructions when you are using IOD products so that they are used the right way. Now, here are the paint inlays, okay? These are absolutely amazing. So I am going to cut as close to my image as I can. I already sized and make sure that it fit. Now I'm going to take a second coat of this paint. Now, when you are using paint inlays, you have to work fast. So you either need to hurry up and paint your piece or paint it in sections because this layer of paint needs to be wet. So what I did here was I did my second coat. I am working with a smaller piece, so I didn't necessarily have to do this in sections. Now you want this to be nice and a smooth coat. Now I take this paint inlay, I lay it on the wet paint, and essentially what these paint inlays are is it is a painted picture, and it's going to infuse with that wet paint. And what I'm doing right here is spritzing it with water, and then I'm tapping it down. I'm wanting to make sure that I'm pressing that image into the wet paint. Now, the mistake I made was, one, I put too heavy of a coat of paint on, and then I was pressing so hard on my image that the paint was kind of like coming out from underneath my inlay. So just use a softer hand, and you don't have to go so crazy with your coat of paint. Now that it is completely dry time will vary, we are going to take a spray bottle of water and you're going to spritz that again. This is going to help release that paper from the paint. So you're going to see right here how I bring it up. All right. And look at how that transferred on to our paint. Now, it might not be perfect and you might need to get the hang of it. Always as well, keep this piece of paper because you could reuse these a second time. Now, they're not going to show up as vibrant as the first time, but you can use that a second time. Now, I was trying to fix my mistake because you could see like where my line of paper was because I pushed that paint out to the side. So what I did was I'm taking my spray bottle, I'm spritzing it onto my image, taking a paintbrush, and I'm going to almost like do like a stippling effect, I guess you could say, on it, and it's going to turn it into what looks like a watercolor. So these are just like the DIY paints, water soluble. So when I put on that water, it's activating that paint, and then I'm able to blend it. And do you see how this almost looks like it's turning into a watercolor painting? Now, you don't have to do this. Your image could come out totally fine. Mine, I was essentially trying to hide the stuff going on the sides, and then was like, you know what, this looks really pretty blended in. So that's what I ended up doing, and here is the piece after everything was said and done. And I guess I didn't show, but I distressed obviously the frame of this with some white paint to tie it all in, and I love this. There are so many other paint inlays too, you guys, and you'll see more of them throughout the season for sure. But look at how beautiful that turned out. All right, this one, we're taking this Dollar Tree hanger from our summer collection thing, and I'm going to take the hanger off. This hanger was like the perfect color. Now this paper sucked. So once I peeled it off, like the first layer, there was all this white paper. What you're going to do is you're going to take a warm rag, set it on top of that for like 20 minutes. Then you're going to take either the towel, or I found using a sponge with like the rough back and going in circular motions completely took the paper off. This is what it looked like after it dried overnight. Now I'm going to take my crackle medium. This is Folk Art Crackle, and it's specifically for chalk paint. take my chip brush, and I'm going to do even coats, trying not to make several passes over the coat. That didn't make sense. You want to just use one brush stroke. Okay, you don't want to overlap over and over because that'll ruin that crackle effect. Now I'm going to take my plaster by Waverly, and you can see how I'm just taking that brush and going across, well, except for here, I got chunks in there. I'm going across my piece. I'm not going over the same stroke over and over again. And I love this crackle medium, you guys. You see it working right away. I know there's Elmer's glue. I know there's tons of other options. This is just what I enjoy using. So now I'm taking those IOD stamps again, and I am going to be pressing them out. Now, when you, or if you get these stamps or have them, then you know they only come with one set. So what I like to do is place them out first, and then you have to go back in. So you could see I'm setting my A and my S again. I know they're going to fit there because I already did my placement beforehand to make sure they fit. And then I'll put that ink on there and then press them once again. And look at how crisp that is. And just so you can see what I'm talking about, for those of you who haven't seen me use these stamps, I am going to take all of them out that I need. So this is going to say Santa's Magic Key, and I'm going to place them on my piece first. Now you can see I placed the hook back on there so I know where I can put these letters. Then I take my, this is actually a cutting mat. I'm going to take my ink, pat it, and then we will put that on. Now I am taking, I got this huge set of keys. It's from Amazon because when I first started my wood sign business, I made a bunch of these Santa's Magic Key signs. So that's in my Amazon store if you guys want these keys. And then I'm just going to tie some ribbon to it. And you guys, I thought this Santa's Magic Key was nice for those that maybe don't, like a grandma or an aunt or something that doesn't really have kids living in the house, so they don't want that kitty looking Christmas stuff, but they still want to bring like the magic to the home for their, you know, for their grandbabies or their nieces or their nephew, or even if you're a mom or dad or whatever and you don't like the kiddie-ish stuff. This is a great way of still bringing that magic of Christmas into your home, but making it look a little bit more mature. So we're going to start this video by heading outside. I just wanted to kind of give my little tip that, like, whenever I'm doing wood projects, I like to do multiples at one time. So I will go through and kind of like write down on a Post-it what exactly I'm making, and then I will go get my pieces of wood, lay them out, and then that way I can keep everything together, keep my measurements on track, and I feel like it just helps me stay organized during the process. So I think a lot of you guys asked about this sander, and I will try linking it in the description box. We got it online at a hardware store, so I don't think you could get it on Amazon. So I had my husband cut the spindles because I did not trust myself with something round because I thought it was going to shoot up and hit me in the face. Okay, so we are going to start with this humongous spindle post. Like I said, we picked up a huge banister, and I had 4 of these, and I definitely wanted to put one of them to use. So I am going through with my Skill Orbital Sander, and I'm not necessarily trying to take the like shininess off or the clear coat or anything like that. I'm really just using this to smooth out any imperfections, the glue that was used on these, just to create a nice clean surface. Then I clean it off with crud cutter and a cloth, and then I will go back with a wet rag just to get the crud cutter off as well. I know that's a lot, right? All right, so now we are going to use some painter's tape. I'm going to paint the top of this off. Now I want to know, if you don't necessarily have one of these, you can always use a 4x4. You would just have to find something round to put at the top of your post. So after I'm done taping that, I'm going to grab, I think this is Candy Apple by Rust-Oleum, and I am going to rattle can it. I know that sounds so bad, but this is just as good of a quality as chalk paint is, and it makes this process a lot easier. So that's why I chose to go with this, and I do have this paint tent in my Amazon store link. Now I'm going to take painter's tape once again. Now, this had a lot of obviously curved edges. So I just tried my very best to, one, pull the tape tight, and then two, as I was going on those curves, sorry, my arm is pretty much blocking it, but I tried to press in. You could see right here. Oh yeah, Momo, hold on. The dog can't see or hear, but she could definitely bark super loud. Okay, so like I was saying, I was trying my best to like really push my fingers into those curves so that I didn't have a ton of paint going underneath my tape. And then I'm taking just a primer white spray paint again, and I am going to do this. I only needed one coat of this primer white, and again, it's by Rust-Oleum. Then you guys, while that is drying, we're going to make the base. So I cut 2 pieces of wood, one smaller, one larger, and I will go ahead and leave the measurements in the description box for you. I applied some wood glue to these, set them on top. You want to wait until that wood glue gets a little tacky before you try to shoot your nails through it, or your piece of wood is just going to move around. Now, if you had a hot glue gun outside, then by all means use that with it. That way it stays in place. Then I wanted to spray my base in this red color. Now you guys, I had to show this because it was pretty funny. So I knew I was totally capable of putting the base on the post, but you know, my husband, he's a little stronger. We had to push screws through. So I was like, you know, babe, can you do this for me? Well, my husband likes to overanalyze everything, and he wants to be super precise and exact. So he he spent so much time trying to figure this out. And literally what I would do, y'all, is I would have set that post on top of my base. I would have eyeballed the middle. Then I would have traced around my post. So then I would get the square, the size of my post. And then what he's doing right here is he's pre-drilling holes into the base. So what's happening right here is like where you would trace around the post, you're going to put 4 holes inside of that square. I feel like I'm not making sense. I apologize. And then because this is why he doesn't have a YouTube channel. Then we get some long screws, that's Montgomery, and we just screw that to the bottom, you guys. Easy peasy, kind of. And then I took the tape off, and I do clear it as well with some spar urethane in case I do decide that I want to take it outside. Now I'm taking that Skill orbital sander once again, and I'm hitting all of those edges. I wanted a distressed look, but you do you if that's not your look. Now for the top, I didn't want straight gold. That isn't really like my vibe, and I plan on keeping this. And regardless if it was straight gold or not, the kids still loved it. So I'm taking the gilded wax, that gold DIY wax, and I'm putting it on top of this just to give it like a nice gold sheen without going like too much on here. But that is preference once again. So after I cleared this, well, no, did I clear it? I think I did clear it. Anyways, we are going to make the sign for it. So I'm going to take this piece of wood, antique green, and then I am going to do a pretty good coat of this on the front, the back, and the sides. I then go to my Cricut, and I found this image in Cricut design space. So it is not my image. I just searched North Pole. That was it. And for whatever reason, I decided to use this Arteza transfer film. And yeah, haven't worked with very sticky paper in a long time, and I ended up having issues. All right, now I'm taking my stencil brush from Dollar Tree. I'm taking white chalk paint, and then I'm going to stipple this on to my my stencil. And I end up doing 2 coats of this. I forgot what I was going to say. Anywho, I do 2 coats of this. Again, this is Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl, and it is in my Amazon store link. Now we're going to pull that back, and we're left with this beautiful image. I love this green. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put it on our pole, or spindle, or whatever, and I'm just going to measure on each side so that I know that it is centered on here. I'm going to apply some wood glue underneath this, and then again, once that wood glue gets just a little bit tacky and I know that it's not going to move when I shoot my nails through it, then I shoot a nail through the top and the bottom. And you guys, I love the way this turned out. I did end up adding like a gold burlap bow to the top that I didn't film, but this was a lot of fun. And like I said, if you don't necessarily have this big spindle, then you can get a 4x4, which can be pretty inexpensive, and Home Depot will cut it down for you. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it gave you some inspiration if you do happen to find these on Facebook Marketplace, or maybe you have some in your stash. I don't know. So I hope you love this. I know my kids already love it, so I'm excited to put it out for Christmas this year. Now, I know we've all seen these, but I have not done spindle ornaments before. So I cut a bunch of these spindles down. I am taking, oh my gosh, I forgot what color this is, you guys, by DIY. I'll link it down below, but it is a DIY paint. And like DIY paints, as they dry, they get lighter in color. So you can see how beautiful that dries down. Isn't that gorgeous? And then I'm going to take the wax, this gold. You guys, I went nuts with this. I'm just taking my finger and I'm going to rub it around the raised. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm like looking at this and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. And then I'm putting it on places that I thought that maybe the spindle would naturally distress. And you guys, I did not plan on using this on multiple spindles, but I ended up doing that because this gold is so like, I don't know how to describe it, like antique-y gold. Like it's not like a bright, ugly yellow gold or like brassy gold. It's so beautiful. And then like because it's a wax, it almost gives like this dark hue around it. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Is that gold not stunning or what? Oh my gosh. Then I take the clear wax by DIY and I am just going to do a rough brushing over that. Now the DIY wax will make your piece a little darker. It does dry down some, in a meaning of like it gets a little bit lighter again, but it will not look exactly like it did before the wax. Hope that makes sense. All right, now this one I distressed prior and it definitely was not cute. So we are going to cover this with the same green paint, and then we're going to do a different technique. So we're going to grab our candle and we're going to rub our candle over this paint. Now remember, the more wax you get, the more distressed look you're going to get. The less distress you're going to get. So make sure you rub that all over the place. Then we're going to take Crimson by Waverly and I am going to put that on. Now, if you had multiple layers, you could do like white, then you would wax it. Then you would do green, wax it, green, wax it, and then put your red on. And then when you do this part, which this is just like shipping tape, and you pull it back, if you did more colors, you would see multiple colors in that. But since I only put the wax on top of the green, that is why we are seeing the green. So I thought this was super pretty. And then I ended up getting mica powder. And I got these are from Arteza. And I got this strawberry red. So what I'm doing here is I'm clearing the spindle with the clear DIY wax first. Then I'm going to dip my finger into this strawberry red mica powder. I was on now like a shiny look. I don't know, frosted look, we'll say. And so I started again just rubbing those on all of the details, and then I kind of went over the parts where the green was showing and put that little shimmer of red on there as well. Now, you guys, I'm just taking you through the different paintings that we did on these spindles, so hang tight. All right, so this one we're gonna do crimson, and I ended up having to do 2 coats of this because of the black paint. After this, I am going to get that gold wax once again. And you guys, this gold wax did not disappoint on any color. Like on the red, it popped. It looks so Christmassy and gorgeous. I've also used it, you'll see later, on gray. I'm obsessed. And again, the DIY products I get from upcycledbybrie.com, and I always have her link in the description box. I also clear that one as well, you guys. I just didn't show it, didn't want to be super repetitive. And then on this beautiful spindle, I left it natural. We're not painting it. I just rubbed the gold wax on it to give it a Christmassy look. Gorga, okay? And I cleared that one. Then you guys, I kind of ruined it. I should have done all of these like green, red colors and gold, but for some reason I saw icicle with this one. I don't know why. So I painted it Nantucket blue. Then I took my white wax and I am taking my stencil brush. Now, when I do waxes, you guys, I like to keep the same brush. I use the same brush all the time, and I just keep it in a sandwich bag to keep it nice and soft, and I just reuse the same brush over and over. Now I'm taking a blue mica powder and I'm rubbing that. Oh gosh, I got such a great angle on in this frame here. And then I'm going to take these eye hooks and I'm going to drill a hole at the top of my spindles. Now, if you don't have a drill, the eye hooks you can just push and screw in. However, it gets a little tough, so you do have to grab some pliers and then you'll keep twisting. These eye hooks do come in gold too, which that is what I really wanted, but I could not find at Walmart. This entire pack of the eye hooks cost me 97 cents at Walmart. Then I'm going to take the twine. You guys can also use ribbon. I mean, there's so many options you could use for hanging these, but I just did like a very basic twine. And you guys, check out how this came out. Oh my gosh. Look at that gold. Gold. I love, love, love these. Let me know if you've made these before, or if now you're like super inspired and you're going to go scour your garage and Facebook Marketplace for spindles. These are going to be available. These 4 available for purchase on my website. So go check that out. Oh my gosh. Look at that. That original spindle is to die for. Like, I just can't. And then I thought I would show you the blue and white one, even though, you know, they're not as good as the red and green ones. But here's the blue one. Doesn't this remind you of an icicle? It's just longer. I don't know. And then here's another one I did. Come on, camera, focus. And you can't see, I have like a frosty white shimmer on there, but it definitely wasn't my favorite. So you guys, these won't be on my website because I'm totally keeping them. Now, you guys might look at this and be like, those aren't spindles. When I thought of this video, I immediately thought of these. I consider these spindles, maybe because they're legs to something. I don't know. I didn't look up the definition to spindles. Anyways, I am using Prairie Gray by DIY Paints, and you guys have seen me use this, I think, once before, and it is such a gorgeous color as it dries down. Now remember, DIY paint is clay base, it's matte, it's water soluble, so it does dry down to be a lighter color. So I'm going to cover these. At first I thought I was going to keep them their original color, but I had to like sand the sides down and stuff, so I was like, you know what, we're going for Prairie Gray. So after I'm done doing that, oh, look at the wax. I'm grabbing that wax again, and I am going to put it on all, you guys. Check this out. I know I probably sound silly with how excited I am about this, but you know, it's the little things in life, y'all, and this is it. So again, I'm just applying with my finger, and I am trying to hit all of the details first, a little heavier than I will like the smoother spots. And the same thing, like I'll go around like those rounded edges, like anything to make those details pop out at you. Excuse me, that is where we are going to put this. Then as you'll see, as I get up top, like how I'm heavier around the detail, and then I kind of just get the excess that is on my finger, and I like kind of just rub it over those smoother parts to just get a little bit of that shiny, shimmery look on the candle. And this gray, I was worried that the gold and the gray wouldn't look that great, but I think it looks so good. And then like we did with the spindles, I am taking the DIY clear wax. You don't want to dip your brush in DIY products. Something about they have like a natural property in them and they could build bacteria. I don't know. Don't quote me. Go watch Upcycled by Brie for more information on these. I like to know, like, think I know what I'm talking about, you guys, and then y'all check me in comments. So I read them, I know. So I'm going to clear this entire thing. And like I said, like the wax does make the color darker again. And then when it does dry down, it dries down a little lighter, but not so much. You are going to have a darker paint color. Now, after I'm done with this, I got these trees from Hobby Lobby. I didn't mean to buy stuff for this video, but the Dollar Tree trees were too small. And then these, oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. Anyways, so I drilled a hole on the top of this, and then I put some of my Star Bond super glue in there, and then I just stuck the little metal post down into that spindle. And then I do the same thing for the other one. And y'all, I have a third one of these, and I bought a white Christmas tree. So yeah, I need to complete this trio here. So you could see I'm just drilling a hole down. You could see the metal piping, or I don't know what this is called, right there, and it just goes in there so perfectly. And then we want to secure it down so it doesn't come out of there with our Star Bond super glue. And look at how beautiful these turned out. Oh my gosh. Oh my word. These make my heart so very happy. I love that they're, you know, a different color. It's not just like your standard green or red for Christmas, yet it definitely screams Christmas vibes, which I love. Imagine this on a tablescape with some other things. Gorga. All right, you guys. So our next one, we are going to take one of these spindles. As you can see, we cut it at a very sharp angle because I want this to be something that you can stick like in your entryway as you're walking up to your porch, or a flower pot, something like that. I painted it white, 2 coats. Didn't think you guys needed to watch that. Then I'm going to take this jumbo craft stick. This is from Walmart. Sorry if there's an echo. I'm recording in my kitchen. And I'm going to cut this down to size here. Now, I would have preferred, and you guys get to hear, hey, gosh, real life, you guys. I would have preferred to use a paint stir stick just because it's thicker and it looks better. However, I could not find my paint stir sticks for the life of me, so I had to settle with this jumbo craft stick. I'm going to paint that with Rich Black by Folk Art. Y'all, there hardly is nothing left in this darn bottle, but I am trying to get every little last bit. Okay, so then I realized as I put this on, I'm like, hello, you got to paint the top of the hat. So I'm just going to go around the top of my spindle and trace out some lines so I know where to stop with my black paint. Then I'm going to take my Folk Art paintbrush and that Rich Black, and we are going to paint the top. And make sure you paint like the actual top of the spindle because that will be showing, obviously. Now, if this is going outside, make sure you guys are clearing it with a spar urethane or a like weather guard spray. Then I glue that craft stick on there for his hat. Now I'm going to take the the opposite side of a paintbrush, and that's what I'm going to use to create his eyes. And then y'all called me out on not having mouths on my snowman on the other video, so I made sure to give him a mouth this time. And then we are going to paint that triangular side oh no, first we're taking this sponge brush and I'm using the bottom of it to create buttons. I do have daubers, but I was just using whatever was near me, and this actually ended up working out very well. I just put a little paint on it and then took the excess off so I didn't have a big old blob there, and it worked great. Now we are going to do the nose. So I just take a very small paintbrush and we are just doing a sideways triangle right here. Look at how easy that was, you guys. And then I am going to just tear off a piece of this Dollar Tree fabric and create a scarf. And I love the way he turned out. This was a super simple DIY. And imagine like a bunch of these lining like the entryway, like to your porch or your sidewalk. So adorable. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want more spindle DIYs that are more like regular home decor, let me know in the comments, because I got a lot and I got a lot of ideas to show you. So let me know. I hope you guys are enjoying all of the Christmas vibes here on YouTube. We are back with some 2x4s. Yay, you guys loved these last time. Now I am taking Truffle by Waverly, and I wanted to give this like a faux wood distress look without having to stain it or use baby wipes, because these 2x4s were a little rough. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm going to cover the fronts and the sides, but I'm not going to do the back here. And I just wanted to mention, if you are watching this for the first time, this is treated 2x4s. Usually you would not use treated wood when you are selling items. I am just trying to use the scraps that we have in the garage without buying more. So you can use treated wood if you're doing something for outside projects, but it's not something that you would DIY and then like sell usually. Okay, just wanted to let you guys know that tidbit of information. All right, so now that that's done, I'm going to get my white chalk paint. I'm going to have a chippy brush, and we are going to apply the paint at a vertical angle. I feel like when you apply it at this angle, it just gives it like the most perfect distressed wood look. But you know, you do you. And we're going to do this on the front, the back, and the sides. We're not going to do it on the top or the bottom, since those will not be showing. Now I'm going to take some fabric. These are all from Dollar Tree. And I am going to cut some rectangular pieces out. Of course, I did not measure these for you guys. I'm sorry, but maybe I could give you somewhat of an idea in the description box. So I'm going to cut 3 pieces out. We are going to make 3 snowmen here, but I'm just going to show you how to make one of them, since it would kind of be a little repetitive. So I'm going to cut 3 pieces of fabric out. They could be all the same. I chose to do 3 different patterns. Now I'm going to take my 2x4. I don't want to see the raw hem, so I'm going to kind of roll that up there. See the placement that I want for its beanie. I'm going to put that face down. I'm going to grab my hot glue gun, and I am going to put a bead of glue back there and tack that down. Easy peasy, right? Or you guys can use like scarf material. I wonder, yeah, there's so many possibilities for what you can do with the beanie. Okay, and then we're going to get that other side, apply some more hot glue. We're going to turn this little guy around, and then we are going to get some twine, and we are going to tie off the top of its beanie. This was really hard doing. I don't know why. I was wanting it to like not cave in the middle and kind of be like a little fluffy. So you could always actually stick maybe like tissue paper or something in there to help that. And then I'm just going to tie it in a bow right here. And like I said, the accessories and everything, you can totally add on to these snowmen and make them your own. Then on the top, I decided to cut little strands. What would we call these? Not tassels, fringe. Fringe is what I was cutting into these guys, just to add a little bit more detail. Now we're gonna go on the front of our snowman, and I'm gonna cut some strands of fabric out. And then these are just fabric that I used for the other beanies so that it all coordinates. I just double knotted it. And again, I'm gonna grab those scissors and I'm gonna cut some fringe. I was on a fringe like kick for this video. Sorry if you could hear Hank howling in the background. Okay, now I'm gonna take my favorite rounded edge synthetic makeup brushes. These I just recycled from my makeup stash. And I am going to paint some eyes on here. Now we are going to do very simple features for these snowmen. We're not doing eyelashes, but you definitely can. Then I'm getting an angled brush. And you guys, all you have to do is do a sideways triangle. That is it. If a sideways triangle is called something else, let me know in the comments, but a triangle sideways. Anybody could paint this on. This would be so much fun to do with your children as well. And then I'm going to create some buttons. You can also substitute this with actual buttons. Dollar Tree sells like a whole little thing of them, or you can do pom-poms or some gems. So many options you can do for these little guys, but I did 3 of them, all different heights. You could do them all the same heights, and these would probably be great sellers in booths or craft shows. They would also be just fun to gift somebody, or if you made them in a larger version for like a porch. But I love the way that they turned out. I love that you could add so much character by the different accessories that you put on them. So I hope you guys enjoyed these 2x4s because I love DIYing with them. This next one. All right, you guys, we got more of this fencing that I got for free off of Facebook. I cut them to about 14 inches long, and then the main fencing post I am just leaving its regular length. I'm going to take Crimson by Waverly for the first one, and when I can leave some wood features unpainted, I will. So I decided to leave all of the edges in the raw wood and only paint the top of my arrows. So again, this one is Crimson. Then for the second arrow, I tried Silver Lining by Waverly, but since I wanted all of my text to be in white, I decided against it and then went on top of it with Nautical by Folk Art, and it was the most perfect blue. I love it. The third color I used is Antique Green. This is also by Folk Art. I got this on Plaid's website. So if there's colors you can't find in the store, definitely go check out Plaid's website for them. Now I am taking my stencils that I created. This SVG file is available for purchase on my website. And I am using Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl and Transfer Ease transfer paper, everything available in my Amazon store link in my description box. So we're going to take these off. Now, this wood is very, very rough. So I'm going to apply these to my wood pieces. I'm going to rub down as much as I can on them, and they actually, like the stencil vinyl stuck very well to this. However, I know it's not going to go in between every single one of the little cracks in this wood. So we need to be careful that when we are stenciling on to our piece of wood, you are just going in up and down motions. You are not packing paint onto that brush. You just need a light amount, and like I said, up and down motions, okay? Like a stippling effect. That way you're not pushing that paint underneath that stencil and you won't have a bunch of bleeds. And let me tell you, these turned out so crisp. Look at this. That wood, you guys, is rough, like super, super rough. And these came out so clean looking. I was thoroughly impressed. So again, I'm just doing the same thing for this one. We're only going to do one coat of the white because I was going for the more rustic look. Oh my gosh, look at that, you guys. I love it. And then we're going to start on the blue one. The blue one's just going to say hot cocoa. Again, just one coat. And I even pull these off when they are wet. Usually I don't do that, but since there's not much grasp onto the wood, it's easy to take off and I don't have to worry about it, you know, messing up. So now I'm going to angle these on to my fence post or fence picket, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to apply some wood glue on those, and then I am going to put like a bottle of paint on and let them dry. Now, after we're done, I'm going to explain this now with our nail gun. You would take it outside. You can clear it with either clear matte spray paint if it's going to be indoors, or you want to put something like spar urethane or a weather guard on top of this if you are planning on using this sign outdoors or selling it for outdoor use. That way it lasts and it holds up against the elements. So you guys have been asking, this is the nail gun that I use. You do need a battery for it. I will put this in the Amazon store link for you guys so you can check it out. And then I am just going to put 3 nails in each side. Make sure your nails are long enough so that they are going through both pieces of wood. And this is how it turned out. Sorry, I didn't have anywhere to really display it in all its glory, but I am totally digging these colors, the fonts, and I think this could look beautiful like in a pail. Put some cement in there and put something on top of that, and it could sit on, you know, by a fireplace. Well, maybe not by a fireplace, it's wood. Okay, scratch that. Let's just keep this outside on the porch. And look at that original color on the, ooh, I love it. Now, y'all in the Facebook group asked for snowmen. So this might seem redundant, but I wanted to show you another version of what you can do with it. So I am using one of the old pieces of flooring from my house, and I am going to just put on, this is actually more of that house paint, so like a sample paint, and it's called Crisp Linen, if you guys do like the color, by Bear, I think. So I'm going to put 1 coat of this on. I'm going to completely let it dry. Then I'm going to take my rough sanding block. Y'all, this is like the best sanding block, and it's from Dollar Tree. Look at that. Oh my gosh, this de-stressed down beautifully. Like, it looks like, oh, I love it. I love wood. I love wood. All right, and then we're going to go in and we're going to essentially do the same thing that we did with our 2x4s. We are just going to do this on a larger capacity, There we go. Yep. Who taught you how to spoke, right? And then I'm going to take that pumpkin by Waverly, and I'm going to do like a little bit of, you know, funness on that nose, give it a little bit of character. And after that, I'm going to take a Dollar Tree scarf. I'm going to cut that down. Now, this was far too long. I was trying to keep the little tassels on there, but after I wrapped it around the neck, it was far too long. Now, keep in mind, you guys, if you don't have wood, you could do this with a Dollar Tree sign very easily. You could do it with a regular piece of wood as well. So there are more options if you don't have, obviously, flooring just laying around. Then I cut the excess off, and then again, I needed fringe on there. So I just cut some little strands into the scarf. Now, to add some character, because this little snowman is looking a little plain, I found these like rusted snowflakes at Hobby Lobby. I want to say they were like $2.99, and then all of the Christmas stuff was 50% off last week. So I wanted to add these as the buttons. I'm using my Star Bond glue to adhere these because we know how hot glue and metal works, and they don't like each other. They're not best friends. So we are using the Star Bond glue so we make sure that these are not going to fall off. I am going to put this out there that I do think this little snowman needs a beanie. I just wanted to show you like a different, like maybe you guys aren't into that and you guys like plain, simple, rustic. Here you go. Here he is. This is rustic for you. I just think that his little head looks so plain that he needs a beanie. Or you could even do like a Santa's hat on this, or yeah, like a regular size beanie would fit as well. Now doing a shameless plug in here. I just wanted to let you guys know that I do have a website now. I do one-of-a-kind bleached flannels. A lot of the shirts that I do are just like one-timers. So if you see it in your size, make sure you add it to the cart. And then I also am starting to sell my digital files. So a lot of the things that you see, you'll be able to purchase to use on your wood rounds or other signs as well. That link will be in the description box for you. All right, our last one. So I'm taking this piece of wood. It's about 11 1/4 by 14. You guys, this was meant to be something totally different. So if you want to see that and learn a little something, then stick around after this DIY. So I'm taking crimson. I'm only going to do one coat of this when I am, oh gosh, I'm a mess. I'm just going to do one coat. We're going to let it dry. Then I'm going to take my decal, again, Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl. I will have this SVG available for purchase on my website as well. And I am going to put that on there. Then I'm just going to make sure it's straight. I didn't want a wonky looking happy holidays. So it is straight. We apply it on there. We're going to peel back that transfer ease vinyl, or transfer tape, I'm sorry. And then we are going to be left with our reverse stencil. It's a reverse stencil, right? I don't know. Now I'm taking my white by Waverly and I am putting on a messy coat. You can see there is going to be a lot of red showing. We're only going to do one coat, and you will see there is another layer that's going to go on top of this. So I wanted those little open spots of red here and there. But if you don't like that, then just use a sponge roller and make it look super clean. Now I'm taking my ruler and I am going to measure down 3.75 inches. I wanted to create faux panels so it looked like I put 3 pieces of wood together to create this sign. Then I take my nifty ruler, and I'm going to take my lead pencil and draw lines. You guys have seen me do this before. This is the way I like to create faux like shiplap. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to rub it over that lead pencil to create some shadowing. Now we are going to go to the weeding part. Now I left this in because I wanted to explain. If you are new to making wood signs, you need to make sure that you have a very sharp weeding tool. When I first started out making wood signs, I had a blunt weeding tool. So I would literally gouge my wood out trying to get underneath the vinyl to lift it off from that paint. When you have a sharp weeding tool, you will not have that problem. I use the Cricut weeding tool, and then I will say that the Dollar Tree one, if you can find it, is pretty darn sharp. So I just thought I would share that little bit of information with you. Now we grab the DIY dark wax. You guys, I am going to smother this on. Okay, not like literally smother it, but I'm going to cover the entire piece of wood. And I want to let you guys know now. Don't be afraid to try new things. I get inspired by people all the time, and sometimes I don't think I'm capable of, like creating what they do, but you just have to give it a try. I was watching The Painted Photographer, and she was doing some signs. She works a lot with like IOD and DIY paint, and she was putting this DIY dark wax over a lot of her stuff, and it was coming out so beautifully that I was like, I want to try this. So as you can see, I covered it up. Now I'm taking a paper towel, wiping all that excess off, and look at how gorgeous that is. Like, I love the color that it made it. I love how dark it made that red, and all of the like details, just like in the layering of the paint, came out. I am obsessed. I love this sign. Look at that. I want to make this, like the paint that I did for this, I want to do it in a porch leaner. Oh, it's so cute. And right there I'm pointing out, this actually looks a lot lighter in this filming than it actually is in person. It's a lot darker in person. All right, you guys. So my boo-boo. So originally I wanted to do another paint inlay from IOD. And what I did was I wanted to try crackle. So I put the crackle medium down. Then I put my white chalk paint over that after it dried. Then I put my paint inlay on top of the wet paint and I let it dry. Well, one, I let it dry overnight, so I don't know if that was the issue, because usually you should just let it dry for like 2 to 3 hours. And then there's the crackle medium. I don't know if that could have affected the paint inlay as well. So as you can see, I spritzed it with water because we're trying to reactivate that paint, okay? Because it's water soluble. And then as I start peeling back the inlay, I could already tell, like, oh, like the letters aren't showing up. The tree didn't show up. So let me know if you guys have any ideas. Do you think it was the crackle medium, or do you think it was the fact that I left the inlay over the dried paint for an entire night? Then I was like, I have to salvage this. Like, I don't want to waste it. I love the crackle, and then I love the picture. So then I grabbed Elephant by Waverly. Could have sworn this was like a charcoal gray, or maybe I just didn't mix it. But I tried going over the letters, and I just couldn't. Like, nothing was working. I tried kind of like blending it out. I tried going over the tree with some green, and you guys, it just, you live and you learn, right? So I just wanted to show you my hiccup. I tried. So hopping right into this, we're going to take some IOD molds. Some of these are from last year and then some are from this year. I'm using my cornstarch to put inside my mold so that my clay does not stick and easily comes out. I've done several videos using these. I will attach some of them in the description box because I'm not going to go too into detail on this. So after that, I'm going to grab my paper clay. And I want to tell you guys, I've tried the air dry clay from IOD. And now I've tried this one, which is a paper clay. And after opening this paper clay and storing it, I will say that it stores a lot better than the air dry clay. Like, this stuff feels just like the first time that I opened the bag versus my air dry clay, which I have tried several different things to keep it like nice and like moldable. And it always gets super stiff and I have to wet it and rework it. This stuff, completely different. However, I will say the paper clay is very like sticky. You can see it sticking all over my hands. So wanted to put that out there if you were thinking about trying, different options. They both have their pros and cons. I will also say that the paper clay is a little flexible after it dries, which is a bonus. So now that, no, I'm like, am I making more? Yeah, I'm rolling more here, okay? I didn't know what I was going to use. I have been inspired by I think it's called Provincial Farmhouse. I'll link her YouTube down below. She does a lot of layering with her molds, and I thought to myself, like, man, I haven't been doing enough with these. Like, so many possibilities. So that's why I made like quite a few. Right now, I'm taking them out of the silicone mold while they are still wet and flexible. You can see how easy these are coming out. They are absolutely beautiful. This is last year's mold. You could possibly still find it on Etsy or by going to IOD and finding a retailer near you. All right, so you can see right here, I'm using fencing that I had left over from making pumpkins, and I am trying my hand at layering the molds. And I'm just going to use the Type Bond wood glue. I will say that I wish I would have used my Star Bond, because when this dried overnight, the molds kind of lifted off the wood. But I don't also know, that could have been just the paper clay and the way it dries when it's wet. So if you guys know, please let me know down in comments. I am trying all of this out. Like, I'm new to molds and everything, so I'm learning every single time that I do this. So I am happy to learn from you guys. So you can see I just kind of layered them on top of each other. Then I'm going to add this Christmas tree. I totally thought I was taking this somewhere completely different. And then once I started painting and waxing it, I ended up leaving it. You guys will see, sorry. Sorry, you guys will see. Okay, for the second piece of fence, I am going to take all these 3 different Christmas tree sizes, and I wanted it to look like the Christmas trees were getting further away in the background. So that was like my thought process behind. No, get off the couch, off the couch, off the couch. Oh, you guys, this is life. I'm sorry, I'm not starting over. And then I'm going to add a couple sizes of snowflakes here. Now, the fun part, bringing this to life. I am taking just White by Waverly, and I am using a chip brush. I love using a chip brush when I use molds because the bristles on these brushes just get in all of those nooks and crannies and details on these pieces. So I'm going to do the front, and then I make sure to get the sides. I'm also going to paint the one on the left white as well. What we're going to do different with them is use different color waxes. I just wanted to see the different looks that we would get using these. So for this one, I am first coating both of them with clear wax by DIY. This is going to help the colored wax be a little bit more movable, and you'll see what I'm talking about next. So I'm going to take the dark wax that we all have come to love from DIY, and I'm going to brush a healthy amount on that. You want to get more on your molds than you do the flat surface. And then I am going to take a paper towel and I'm going to start wiping that excess off. So this is where that clear wax comes in handy. It's allowing me to move this dark wax and wipe the excess off. And you can see how the dark wax sits in all of those beautiful details. Well, for me, that wasn't enough. So I went in with more dark wax, like up under the tree branches, and then I wiped it away again. And look at how beautiful this is. Oh my word. Now with this one, we are using a gray wax. My girl sent this to me from Canada, so I don't know where you can find it. I will try and remember to leave the name of it if you do live in Canada. So I am brushing this one on, and then again, we are going to use the paper towel, wipe that excess off. Now I'm going to take these little baby eye hooks. The wood was soft enough just to push these on in. I string some twine through them, and that is it for these. These are absolutely gorgeous. The details in them, the texture from the wood is gorgeous. There's just like a story to them. I don't know. They look beautiful, whimsical, vintage. These will probably be on my website for purchase. I haven't decided if I could let go of them or not. All right. This next one is super easy. We are taking, I think this is a 12 by 12. It was already cut on a shelf in my garage. I'm going to say it's a 12 by 12. And I'm taking Crimson Red by Waverly. I'm going to paint the front, the back, the sides, all that stuff. Now I'm taking the IOD Christmas transfers and I am going to cut the image out that I want. Now, I've told you guys many times, I get my IOD products from Bonda at thepaintedheirloom.com. If you are unable to find something that you want on her website, then you could always go to ironorchid.com and find a retailer near you that might have these. So you guys have seen me use the transfers. You place it on, it has a little bit of tack. You take your scraper tool and you start scraping and lifting at the same time. After you're done, you're going to be left with this beautiful image. You take the carrier sheet and then you are going to kind of buff it to make sure that it's on your piece of wood. Now I'm taking this Santa stamp. This is from last year. I'm sorry, but I had to use it. And I'm taking my white ink, also from IOD, and I'm placing Santa Claus on here. Now, when I took it off, it's so weird because up close, I couldn't tell. I was like, I can't tell this is Santa Claus. It didn't come out vivid to me. So you see, but from far away, like looking at it now, I'm like, oh, you could clearly make out that Santa. Well, at the time I was like, nope. So I put black ink on the stamp and then layered it on top of the white. I use this Briar, but I prefer using my hands to rub the stamp down. It almost, though, made it look like an etched in like Santa Claus. My daughter knew exactly what it was, so I was like, okay, it works. Now I'm taking these stamps. I did get a new font in stamps. These come with uppercase and lowercase letters. I will leave the link for these down in the description box. I love this font. It's like a courier font, like super classic. And I'm going to take my kitchen mat. I'm going to be using the white ink for this one. And so you guys know IOD has several colors: white, red, green. They have a yellow, a blue, a gray. So they have several ink colors to choose from on the website. So I'm going to rub those on. I'm not going to make you guys watch me do every single one. I am going to stamp out Better Not Pout. I put a sawtooth hanger on the back of this and spray it with clear matte by Rust-Oleum. Since it is a sign, it's not going to be touched. And this is how it turned out. Let me know what you guys think. I love how the Santa Claus looks etched in there, doesn't he? I like it. And I don't know why. I felt like putting Better Not Pout. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Now I found these beauties, 4 of them for $5.99 at Savers. 2 of them I'm going to sand, 2 of them I'm going to leave as is. You guys, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. So trying amazing resin out for the first time. It cures within 10 minutes. It has 2 parts and it's so easy. It's just equal parts bottle A to B. You mix it for about 40 seconds. You'll feel that it kind of gets like, you could feel the warmth of it in the cup. I do recommend getting paper cups though versus this. This is a laundry detergent cup. And after you mix it, you pour it in your mold. And you guys, I wanted to literally pour every single mold I've ever gotten from IOD because this was so easy. Like I said though, I am going to get paper cups just because it's going to be easier to kind of like bend them and get them in the little details. And another thing is, go with a little less as you start coming to the tops of the mold, because as it firms up, look at this, already turning white. Of course, this is sped up, but like when they said 10 minutes on the box, it literally only took 10 minutes. But like I was saying, once they start firming up, they kind of create a little like roundness or something to the back of it that puffs up. So to keep it flat, don't go too far up as you're pouring those molds. But this is amazing. And then as I pop them out, I am ecstatic. This was so satisfying. The details, I mean, you see the details with the clay, but the details with this was just out of the world. The only negative is you can only use these on things that you're going to be doing with a flat surface. So you obviously can't put this like on a bowl or a can or anything like that that has a curved surface. So only flat. So after that, we are going to grab these, I guess they would just be wall decor maybe. And I am getting some of this vintage scrapbook paper. This is just a Christmas packet from Hobby Lobby. I am pressing down around the circle, and then I'm going to cut that scrapbook paper out. I will apply Mod Podge directly to my piece, and then I will apply it to the top of the scrapbook paper as well, and then I will hit it with my heat gun to hurry up that drying process. Now I'm going to take my molds. I'm using vintage green for my bow. I do 2 layers, and then I am going to put hazelnut on the bell. I thought it was a nice way of getting like a gold look without going metallic. Now, of course, I take my gold wax, and you guys, you would never know that this bell had so much detail until you put wax over it, because the top of this has, look at that. You would have never known that it had those beautiful details up there. So I put the gold wax on the bell, and then I put it on the bow as well. I mean, why not? It's Christmas. Let's make everything shiny. And now I'm going to use my Star Bond glue and attach that. I will say, I hope that this holds up, because the bow really only had that little top notch of the bell to hold on to. This layering would have probably done better wet, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to do the same thing with the paper for this next one, except I used a craft knife and it was way easier to do it that way. Mod Podge. And for this one, we are going to use this beautiful snowflake. This is out of their new mold. I'm going to use Cashew by Waverly, and then we are going to go back in with that dark wax. Y'all, this looks so vintage after I'm done. I love it. So I put a heavy amount. I am making sure I get into all the details. Then I'm going to take my paper towel. And you know what? This time I didn't use the clear wax and it still moved around pretty well. But you could see the right side I wiped versus the left side with the dark wax. So you can see like that difference of wiping it down. Now I'm going to take my accelerator and spray it on. This just helps that Star Bond to like automatically adhere and not move around. Okay, these you guys ended up being my absolute favorite. This color, everything is my vibe right now. And if my kids were older and out of the house, I'd be basing all of my Christmas decor off of this. So the two that I sanded down in the middle, I am going to paint with ink by Waverly. I only have to do one coat and then I'm going to let that dry. Now I'm going to take my bird molds and I am also going to paint those black. I'm going to paint both of them black. Again, just one coat. Now I'm going to take the brush with the gold wax and I'm going to brush these on. Now you guys have seen me use my finger every time I've used these, but I didn't want to just get the top of the mold. I wanted to get in all of the details. This looks blurry, I'm sorry, of the birds. So that's why I chose to use this stencil brush so that I could get it everywhere. And then again, using that Star Bond glue, after like 5 minutes of trying to find where I wanted to place these, I stick those. Oh my gosh, you guys, are these not so gorgeous? Oh, I want to do like a whole mirror in these. I don't know. And then I brush the excess just so you get a little shimmer on that black paint. And then for our watch, of course, I had to do the same thing. I painted it black. I put the gold wax on top of it, glued it, and this actually matched like the top of this wood piece. And then I dusted some of the gold on there, and this is how they turned out. These are so stunning, and look at what a great way of taking something at the thrift store that was so outdated and giving it new life. I am absolutely obsessed with them. I might put these on my website. The Bell one, I just don't know if it would make it through shipping. And then these two I might keep for myself. I need to stop keeping things for myself, but look at how gorgeous and detailed those are. Whew. Oh boy. Okay. This one's a wood round. I wasn't filming when I painted it, but y'all know how to paint a wood round. I'm using my sponge roller. I did the front and the sides. For some reason, I didn't paint the back. You guys know I always paint the back, but I didn't, but that's okay. Now I'm taking my transfers from IOD. This is huge. This is an 18-inch round, y'all, and you can see how well this wreath fits on here. It's stunning. So I am just trying to find the placement. These meet up so well. There's no hard work in this. We're going to take them off of their carrier sheet after I'm done finding the placement. And like I said, they have a little bit of tack to them. So once you peel them from the carrier sheet, you just kind of smooth it down and it'll attach. And then you get your scraper tool and you'll start scraping those out. And as I'm doing mine, I like to scrape. Is scrape the right word? I don't know. And I like to lift as I go, because that way I know if something isn't attached to my wood, that I could just put that carrier sheet back down and rub a little harder, and then it'll transfer on to my piece. I also want to note that I did not put any clear coat on this like I've done before. And I actually think that the transfers do better without the clear coat down, but that is just my opinion. You do you. All right, now moving on, you can see these match up so beautifully. I mean, these sisters, They have thought of everything. They are so, so talented. You guys, you need to go check out the website and see everything. It's gorgeous. Then taking this beautiful cardinal, I'm going to apply that right there. And then this is where I'm like, okay, it needs something in the middle. But I didn't want to go like crazy big with text because I wanted the focus to be the cardinal. So I decided to take this Merry Christmas. It is from last year's transfer book. But then I was like, oh, is this too small? Does it look like an afterthought? I put a couple like other pieces by it just to make it look a little bit more like full, I guess you can say. But let me know what you think. I just didn't want to overcrowd it. But then I kind of think maybe it looks like an afterthought. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Then I'm taking my Spar Urethane water base. I'm going to give it 2 coats on the front and the back. I decided to use Spar Urethane because I'm like, I don't know if somebody that buys this is going to want to use it on the front door or if it'll be inside. So better safe than sorry. I use Spar Urethane. So this one will be available on my website, and I promise you guys the shipping costs have nothing to do with me. I make no profit off of it. That is what UPS is charging us. Okay. Okay. All right. And this is how, and I'm sorry, I also didn't film it, but I applied D hooks to the back just like I do with all my other wood rounds so that you can hang it on a door, a wall, whatever you would like. And I think this turned out beautiful. I only did 1 coat of that white chalk paint because I still wanted to see the wood grain. There are spots where like a little, like right there under the Christmas wood showing through. For this project, we're gonna need 3 2x4s in 3 different sizes. And I promise this time I will leave all measurements in the description box. I'm so bad about that, but I will. So this first one we're going to paint with white chalk paint. We're going to do the front, the back, and the sides of all of them when we paint. Then I'm going to take this painter's tape and I am going to go at an angle. I'm going for like the candy cane stripe look, okay? So you can see as I'm going around, it's not really giving me that many stripes. So I'm going to take that roll and I'm just going to start at another point. So you'll see right here in the middle, we're going to do another one. Now I'm not painting the back, so that's why I'm not fully wrapping it. Then I'm going to put a piece of tape on the ends of each side as well, just to get more stripes in there because I didn't think 3 was enough. So once that is held down very well, then we are going to take Imperial Red by Folk Art, which is an acrylic paint. Now, I have only been able to find this at Hobby Lobby. I can never find it at my Walmart. So that's where I get this one. It's the perfect Christmas red and it is matte. So I am just taking my synthetic brush. These are Folk Art brushes I get at Walmart. And I am going to paint the front, the sides, and then I do paint the back. Maybe I don't. No, I didn't do the back. And then I am going to take that painter's tape off, and it only bled where like the wood was super rough. But other than that, I got some pretty clean lines out of this. And you can see how it gives us our candy cane striping. Now I'm going to take this wood disc. I get these at Walmart. We're going to take our chalkboard paint from Dollar Tree. And I will say that using a synthetic brush is your best option. Sponge rollers or regular like chippy brushes leave texture on these. So I highly recommend using synthetic brush when dealing with the chalkboard paint. Now I'm going to do 2 coats. The first coat kind of absorbs into the wood. And then the second coat is going to go on top. And then that's what's going to be like our final product. So you could see, and let it cool down before applying that second coat. Now I am just, this is such a crooked angle. I am finding the middle point of our 2x4. I'm just going to apply it on there with hot glue. And then we are going to, what I should have done, you guys, too, was clear the striped block before I put the chalkboard sign on. Now for this one, we're going to do antique green, front, back, sides, all of it. I'm going to grab that gold wax that I've been obsessed with from DIY, and we are going to apply that all over these edges. Isn't that so gorgeous? I wanted this one to be a little bit more simple, so you can see I'm dragging it around those edges, bringing it in at the sides, and then I do put some on the top as well. Now for our biggest 2x4, we're going to take that imperial red and cover the entire thing. Then I get the end of a paintbrush and I'm going to do very small polka dots. Now I could have used a dauber or something like that, but I wanted them to be very small, very subtle dots. That way the text that we put on here is what stands out the most. And you guys, the color options for this DIY are absolutely endless. So now I'm taking the words that I cut from my Cricut, and let me tell you, this Christmas, I love how it's cursive, but it's bold. A lot of the Christmas fonts, cursive fonts are like really thin. I love that this one stands out so much. And then we'll put Days Until on our green one. Very beautiful. And then we need to season that little chalkboard. So you take a piece of chalk and you just rub it over, and then you're going to wipe it off with a paper towel, and this way your chalkboard does not stain. And look at how cute these turned out. I am obsessed with the colors that were chosen. I was a little concerned the block on top was going to be too little compared to the rest, but I think it's very fitting. This is so easy for the kids just to take down and write when they're ready. So I hope this inspires you to make some of your own. For this 2x4 project, you're going to need 4 2x4s of varying sizes. You're going to place your shorter one to the side, and then with the 3 remaining, we are going to paint black or paint it the color of your choosing. I think blue would look really great for this project too. So after that is dry, I am going to take the shortest one, and we are going to build ourselves a snowman just like we did the other week. So I am painting this all white, front, back, and sides. You don't need to do the top. Then I'm taking the Dollar Tree scarf, and I have to say I preferred the scarf over the regular like cotton fabric that I used on the last snowman. And then I'm going to roll up the front so that we don't see like that little raw edge, and it just looks more like a beanie, I think. And then we are going to take the hot glue and we are going to hot glue the back to your piece of wood on both sides. Next, I take a piece of twine and I am going to double knot this up top. Now you can stick cotton balls in this or a paper towel if you want the beanie to look more full, but I have to say I didn't have a issue with that because the like scarf fabric was a lot thicker. I liked the way it looked. So now we are going to take that sponge brush, and if you remember last week, I used this to create dots. And like I've said before, you can use daubers. This is just what I had near me, so it's a great little hack to get these cute little circles. And y'all grilled me about how my snowmen did not have mouths last time. So here we go for all of you that thought that they needed little happy faces. There we go. And then again, we do our triangular nose for the snowman. Snowmen are so easy to make. These would be great DIYs to do with the family. All right, now, you guys, I cut these letters out and I was like, I don't need transfer tape. Like, it's only letters. I could just, peel them up and stick them on. No, you guys, just use your transfer tape, okay? Because I had to keep peeling this off, putting it on because it kept going crooked. So as you'll see with the next one. And then you guys, you could do these sizes all in your own preference. Again, I will give you the sizes that I chose to use, but they really can be any size that you want. And this is how this one turned out. I love the black and white with that color beanie. But like I said, I think that this would look really good in a blue color too, with a coordinating beanie color. So this one was a lot of fun and it was so very easy to do. find these things on Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to enter a clip of, finding these 2x4s in the discount section at your Home Depot or a hardware store. And then the 2x4s are actually not that expensive to purchase regular price. So that is an option as well. You guys know, if you're digging me, if you're digging the channel, if you're digging the DIYs, then like, subscribe, and make sure to leave your girl a comment. I also have a bunch of links down in the description box for TikTok, a Facebook group, my Instagram, my website, a little bit of everything. So everything will be down in the description box. And let's go ahead and get back into this video. For this one, I'm going to use 3 pieces of wood in the same size. You can do 1 of these, 3 of these, 2 of these. I just decided to do 3 different words on them, so I thought that I would show you that. So I am going to paint all of them in white, front, back, sides. They're going to be freestanding. I'm going to grab my IOD stamps. These are, I think, the farmhouse fonts, and I am going to place these on my piece of wood first. I will leave the link to the website that I get these to. If you're a first-time customer, use UNICORNDUST10 for a discount. So you can see I'm placing these on. Then I'm going to get my cutting mat that I've cut down to size. I'm going to stick it on to there. Then I'll flip that on around. I'm going to use my IOD ink pad and stamp that with some black ink. Then I'm going to flip this on around very carefully, and then I'm rubbing my finger all over those stamps, making sure I get an even distribution of that ink, and look at how gorgeous that font turns out. And then I just wanted to show you this. You can see it's Mary, where obviously we need 2 R's. The stamps only come with 1 letter each, so I pre-place this out. I left a gap that was big enough for another R. I'm going to lay this down, and again, rubbing with your finger. Now, if you lift your stamps up and realize, the ink didn't get somewhere, which you'll see right here on the R, I just carefully lay that back down and press it a little bit more, and I didn't get any shadowing or anything. I cleaned my stamps with a baby wipe and kind of let them dry a little bit. Now I'm going to leave the R on there, and all I'm going to do is go over where it's missing and press it once again. Voila. Now I'm going to take some ribbon. I got this at Hobby Lobby for 50% off. It is in their Christmas section, and I'm going to wrap it around the 2x4 and glue it to the back. Now I wanted to do the ribbon after the font because I wasn't sure how much room this font was going to take on the piece of wood, and this gave me the capability if I wanted to go down in size on the ribbon. Now I'm going to take these picks. You guys, these are from Dollar Tree. They're 6 for $1.25. They're called mini pine sticks or something, I think, and they are actually really, really good quality, and I love the size. So pick them up if you see them. So I am going to hot glue this to our ribbon, and I was able to use the top and the bottom of it without it looking like I cut off a piece. I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about? And then I put the cotton on there. This is also from Dollar Tree, and I'm just trying to get a lot of that hot glue under there since the cotton is a little it doesn't have a flat backing to it. So I was just trying to get it into all of those little grooves. So you can see this is the second piece of the one pick from Dollar Tree that I used. Oh, okay, you guys. So this is how all 3 of them looked. And like I said, you could just make 1 of these if you want. You can make 3. You can make them in all different sayings, all different colors. You could use different ribbon, different, holiday picks, or even I was thinking little ornaments would be really cute over that ribbon as well. So again, another very easy project to do. Now our last one. So you are going to need 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 6 pieces of 2x4s. I'm going to use this beautiful antique green by Folk Art. You can get this on their website. The Plaid website sells this color. I haven't seen this color in stores. Let me know if you have. All right, so this is a lesson, you guys. So I am using Dark and Decrepit by DIY. It says that it is a top coat, a decoupage medium. Well, when I was thinking of using it, you can see I'm putting it over like where the raw wood is showing. In my mind, I was thinking this was going to be like a wax, like the dark wax, where I could easily wipe it off and it was just going to give it like a light, kind of like wood stain. Well, I was wrong, okay? So this stuff gets tacky very fast. So it dries down. So you can see I painted, like I applied it all at once and then wiped it off at the end. And then you can see it looked streaky. Anywhere that I did not put it, like, oh, it was no. So I was committed though at this point because I was like, I'm not going out. I'm not cutting another piece of wood and painting it and doing this and that. So I learned though. So I said so like a million times. Take a drink every time I say so. And now I am applying it. And I learned you have to apply it and then you need to wipe it away right then and there. Do not apply it to the entire piece of wood and then wipe it down, because you can see it gave me the most beautiful color once I applied it and then wiped it off of the piece. And I had to put it on the entire piece of wood or else it would give me that streaky look, because anywhere you don't put it, it's going to show up that bright green. So I did end up liking the look of it, but it definitely isn't a wax. So keep that in mind. Now that I am done painting all of them, I am getting this Merry Christmas. I think I just used Courier font for this. And I'm using my Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl. It's in my Amazon store link. And I am going to stipple on the Cashew by Waverly. I wanted to use this color because I was going more for a vintagey feel and didn't want a stark white color on this. So I really enjoyed how this turned out. Then I pilled it and it came out pretty darn crisp. Now, I cut stencils with my Cricut. I thought to myself, I could either cut 2 stencils or have to weed and cut 6 different or 5 different Christmas trees, which I was not down for. So you can use folder dividers, which I will put the link for that video down in the description box. I ended up buying the Mylar film from Amazon only because they come in 12 by 12 sheets and you're very limited in size with the folder dividers. So I'll add these Mylar sheets in the description or in my Amazon store. So you can see I applied it and then I did a second coat and then I peel it up and then you have yourselves a cute little Christmas tree. Then I'm going to do the second one. Now with these stencils, you can seriously just drop them in like a very warm, not a very warm, warm water, because if you're using chalk paint, it's water soluble, and then just rub your finger on and the paint will come off and then you can reuse them and reuse them. So I went for a more simple tree for these sides, and you'll see what I'm picking up, what I'm putting down here. I wanted a detailed one in the middle, and then I wanted more simple on these sides. These stencils work very great. They are very thin, just like the folder dividers. So that's why I'm saying if you can find the folder dividers, go get those instead of paying for the ones on Amazon. And after we're done, I cleared all of these, you guys, with clear matte by Rust-Oleum because they're just going to be indoor decor pieces. And look at how beautiful this turned out. You could customize these with names if you want to make the Christmas tree smaller. Here we go, y'all. So this is my first time ever making a tiered tray with wood. I've done it with Dollar Tree items before, but never like a nice one like this. So I'm not going to go over wood measurements in the video because I will put it in the description box. I promise, I already wrote them down. They will be there for you. So I am taking 3 pieces of what's going to be our tiered tray. I am using truffle and a baby wipe to stain the wood. I chose to do it this way because I wanted a fast dry time versus using my stain, which would have taken a while. Then once all of those are dry, I'm going to take my linen white chalk paint by Rust-Oleum, and I'm going to take my chip brush and I'm going to do a messy paint job on this. You're going to do the front, the back, and the sides to all pieces of your wood except one, which you will see later in the video. Now, you guys, in this video, I'm going to kind of make it like formatted to show you an organized way of doing something like this, where you have a lot of small pieces and a lot of painting and so forth. So we're going to do the tiered tray first, and then we're going to go into the tiered tray decor. Okay, so now I'm taking my finial caps. I get these at Walmart. They come in a mixed bag with these like little fat ones and then these little ones next to it. I think they come in an 8-pack or a 6-pack. I am choosing to use the smaller ones. You also have to check if they are all even as well, so you don't have a crooked tiered tray. Then I'm going to take the baby wipe, I'm going to take truffle, and I'm going to do the same exact thing I did with my wood. I am just going to quickly stain those, and then what I do is I get those finial caps after, and gosh, what a messy job. Are you guys messy crafters like I am, or do you wear gloves when you're doing like painting and staining and all that? Especially with chalk paint, I'm like, you could just wash it off after. So anyways, after I'm done staining these, I then just stick them on. You could do a paintbrush. I'm putting it on a pen, and then I am painting them white. Now I'm going to attach them with my Tight Bond wood glue. I would probably, if I could do this again, use my Star Bond super glue, because wood glue does not dry clear. So when you put it on something this small and it comes out from underneath, I tried to get a paper towel and wipe off the excess, but there was still a little bit that showed. And when it dried down to be this like yellow butter color. So just FYI there. Now that all of our pieces are painted, I'm going to use polyacrylic clear matte water based. You want to make sure it's water based, especially when you're using light colors, so that it does not turn your paint yellow. And then I always apply mine with a chip brush, but you can use a roller or any paintbrush. This is, like I said, water based, so it will wash right out of your brushes. Now, I am going to, like I said, we're going to do the front, the back, all of it. And I am going to do at least 2 coats. You would use polyacrylic when you are doing anything for indoor use. Like you can do coffee tables, things like that, where it's going to be touched a lot or you're going to be setting things on it. You want to use something like polyacrylic. So I am also going to grab this beautiful spindle. Now, y'all, this was painted, this was black. Then I had used it and painted it white at one time. I used that Easy Off hack, the Easy Off stove cleaner, sprayed it on, wiped it off, and it gave me this beautiful wood, black, some white on it. Was loving it. All right, now let's put our tiered tray together. So this is the smallest piece of our tiered tray. I am making an X with my ruler to find the center. Then I am going to take my drill and I am going to pre-drill my holes. You saw this when we did the North Pole sign last week. So I'm pre-drilling that hole. Then lucky for me, the spindle that we're using, since I had used it before, already had a hole in the middle on one side of it. So all I had to do was kind of just drill a little further down in there. Now I'm going to take my long screws that have a flat head on them, and I am going to pre-drill that through so that just a little bit is sticking out the other side. So you'll see this comes out the other side. Here we go. And then I'm kind of just going to screw that spindle on there, and then I'm going to tighten that up. Now, we are going to go to our bottom piece. We are going to do the same thing. I am making an X. So I start one corner to the other corner, and then this is going to help us find that center. I'm going to pre-drill that hole once again. Now I'm going to take the spindle. You guys, I do not know how to find the center. I'm sure I could find a video of a circle to save my life. I always like think I do and then I don't. So I eyeballed it and then just measured on each side to make sure it was centered. And then I will drill a hole into this spindle. Now I'm going to flip the bottom part, our big side, whatever, our big piece of wood. I flip it over. You could see that screw is poking out. And sorry you can't see this, but all I'm doing is putting that spindle on it and kind of getting it attached. Now I will take my screw gun and I will make sure that I screw that baby on there nice and tight. And the screws have flat heads, so it won't cause any bumpiness when I apply this third piece of wood for our top. Now you can't see me, I'm sorry, but what I did was I set this on top. I marked out the X so I know where to set it and where my middle is. I applied my wood glue. I put the tier tray back on and I let it set up overnight. And now we're going to get into painting all of our decor pieces. So remember in the beginning of the video, I said I'm just trying to show you an organized way of doing it. So the colors in this decor is just white and a tan color. I chose to use my linen white by Rust-Oleum, and then I'm going to use sand by Waverly. So what I did was I already pre-cut all of my pieces of wood. Remember, the sizes will be in the description box. I put all of the things that I was going to paint in white together, all of the things I was going to paint in sand together. This was just going to make it easier. Then I'm taking, you guys are probably like, what is this? These were the Dollar Tree plungers that I had cut down to size. I was inspired to make these. These are going to be our rolling pins by LF Rustics. I have done some of her work before in Try It Tuesday. I'll leave her TikTok down in the description box. So we are doing this sand color. This sand color by Waverly is absolutely beautiful. It is the most perfect, like, nudish tan color. I don't know. It's like a sand color. That's what it is. So I'm sorry, the baby is kind of waking up. So I'm going to paint all of the sand pieces. Now we're going to take those finial caps. So basically you'll need 10 total for this entire video. And I am going to take the dark wax by DIY and I'm going to rub my fingers over all of that. Sorry if you could hear the baby in the background. She is fine, I promise. And I am going to rub that on and then I will wipe off the excess of that wax with a paper towel. I really wanted these to be dark. I didn't want them the color of the hazelnut with like the baby wipe. So that's why I chose to go this route. You could also use DIY antique wax as well. And I will be right back. Back. Now we're going to build our rolling pins. So all we're taking is those finial caps and hot glue. Now I do recommend using like a super glue preferably because I did drop one of these and the finial caps came right off the ends. So especially if you're going to resell, make sure that you put like Star Bond or like a Gorilla Glue on these. But you can see how perfect these look. And of course they sell the rolling pins at Hobby Lobby, but sometimes they're hard to find. And this is just a great inexpensive way of making your own. Okay, now I wanted to show you this little hack. If you are cutting little bitty letters that have the little dotted I's and all that stuff, those things are so hard to weed. So what you do is you take the full piece, you stick it on to your transfer tape, the stickier the better in this instance, and then you are going to weed it while it's on the transfer tape. So I just changed my blade and it was so sharp it just kind of like cuts through everything. So I need to figure that out. But you'll see I take the paper off and then right here, all I'm doing is just weeding everything out while it is stuck to this paper. And this just makes it so much easier to weed little tiny letters and all the dots stay where they're supposed to. So just thought I would show you that. All right, now we're going to put together a book stack and we are going to be doing, I think it's 2 of the sand, 2 of the whites. I'm just hot gluing these together. You could also use wood glue as well. Then I'm going to be taking now our decals. So everything that I'm going to put on these decor pieces that were black, I designed them all together and then I cut them all at once. The same thing with anything I used with the white vinyl. That way I stayed organized and I knew where everything was going. So you can see how cute this looks. I did change up my font from what the person used in the Etsy listing. I just thought this one was a little bit more bold and stood out. Sorry, you guys, she keeps going in and out of sleep. So that's why I'm not stopping, because she needs to sleep. It's nap time. Okay, now I am moving on to my bigger sign. This one is a 6x6. And keep in mind, you guys, when I put like 1x6 or a 1x8, you actually have to measure them out, because usually they're either like 5.25 instead of a true 1x6. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so here's our rolling pin. Look at you guys how perfect this is. Look at how perfect. I love this. And you guys could use rub-on transfers. If you have great handwriting, you could use your own handwriting. I used my Cricut. It was just easier. I do not have great handwriting. Okay, now everything that is going to go in, or that has ribbon on it, which is basically everything in these decor pieces, we're going to do at one time. So in the Etsy image, she has like this bright color ribbon, like that's green, red, and white, and I wish I had that, and in my mind I thought I did. Well, I didn't. So I'm using what I have, which is this black and red ribbon, and I am going to make a present with this block here, and I'm just going to do a simple design. I know I could have wrapped it around and done like our basic, bow tying box. You guys know what I'm talking about. But anyways, this is how I chose to do it this time. And then we are going to make a bunch of finger bows. There is literally, I think, a bow on everything in this tiered tray. So I cut all of my strands all at once. I make all of my finger bows all at once. That way I'm not stopping, going back, stopping, going back. It's just an easier way of getting things done a little faster and more efficient. I do have a video, I'll put it in my description box, of how to make these finger bows in real time so that it's nice and slow and you guys can pick up what I'm putting down. So this look at how they come out perfect every time. So I'm going to glue that right in the middle. Then we're going to take our rolling pins. Now in her image, it looks like she just wrapped the ribbon around and like tied her bow. However, I didn't think that I would get my bow to like face the way I wanted it to if I did that. So I decided to take the ribbon, do a really light strand of glue so it didn't bubble up, and then I tried to make the seams meet like right, what am I trying to say? Right together? No, you guys know what I'm talking about. I didn't want them to overlap a lot because we're going to take that finger bow and we're going to cover the seam right there. So make sure you're aware of that. I didn't want the seam in the back of it because, somebody would see it. Then I'm going to take the ribbon and I'm going to wrap it around our book stack as well. So I hope you guys are seeing the flow here and the organization of like when you're doing smalls, because let me tell you, smalls is something I don't do. I've never done a tiered tray video ever on here, like with decor and everything. So I was just trying to find a way of staying organized. And then we're going to put our bows on everything. And you guys, I can't wait for you to see this final product. Look at this. Look at this. So we have everything we saw in the Etsy picture. Those are just white coffee mugs from Dollar Tree, picks from Walmart. The little reindeer ornament, I think, is from Dollar General, comes in like a 4-pack. And you guys, try new things. If you think things are hard, give them a try, because you never know what you're capable of. I did not know or think I can make this beautiful tiered tray and all of its decor. That's probably why I've never done one of these videos on my channel, but I made it and I am so proud of myself. I think it looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to display it in my home so people ask me like, oh, did you buy that at Hobby Lobby? No, girl, I made that all by myself, and you can too. So here's the side-by-side. The Etsy picture is on the left and ours is on the right. I hope you enjoyed this type of video. Please let me know what you think about it. For this super easy gift idea, you're going to need a total of 4 2x2 pieces, and then these are 2x8 pieces. I'm going to take my hammer and I am going to de-stress this down so it doesn't look like a brand new piece of wood. What I'm doing right now is putting it in my lap and hammering on it so it doesn't shake my table. And then you'll see, like, I'm just doing a side angle of the front of the hammer, and then I use the back of the hammer as well. Now I'm going to take this, I think is golden pecan, and you can see how the wood is looking like it's aged, not brand new from the store. And that's exactly what I was going for here. I'm using a microfiber cloth to apply my stain, and I'm wearing gloves. This is going to be, you guys, such an easy way of giving a very high-end looking gift to multiple people, friends, family, doesn't matter. So after I'm done with this one, I'm going to stain the legs. Now, like I said, this is like scrap wood stuff. So I know for sure that this 2x2 is pine wood, and I know that because of the color. Now the 2x8 had more of a red, almost like a cedar. I don't know why we would have had that kind of wood, but it definitely had a different color to it. So keep that in mind. Luckily for me, these 2x2s were very rough, so it ended up blending in. Now I'm going to show you this awesome little staining trick. Is it a trick? Is it a method? I don't know. But I'm distressing this wood just like we did with the first one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of that golden pecan stain, and I am going to just, you saw I put patches of it on. Then I take my warm navy and I'm going around those brown areas and then kind of just dusting lightly over the edges of the brown so it looks like it flows together and it doesn't just look like patches or like, you know, cow print that you put on there. And you can see how beautifully this ends up blending out. I am obsessed with this color duo here. Like, it is everything. So I'm going to do the same thing with the back, and then we are going to do the legs. Now the legs, again, the two colors of wood were different. So what I ended up finding working for me was getting red mahogany and putting that as the stain color. And it was close enough. Okay. So I'm going to take these outside, let them set in the sun so that they dry fast. Now I'm going to take my nail gun. And for those of you that are new to power tools, nail guns have tons of different sizes when it comes to nails. You need something that's going to go through your first piece of wood into your second piece of wood. So these are 2-inch nails, and nails come in, like I said, a variety of sizes. It's just going to depend on what you could see like how small those are compared to what we're using. So these are going to be fabulous, chunky, rustic risers. Okay, so I am just applying my Titebond wood glue in just the smallest amount of hot glue. And the reason I do that is because I want this to attach and adhere right away. That way I can take my nail gun and put those nails right through. If I were just to use the wood glue, I would have to wait until the wood glue either completely dried or got like a little tacky, because it stays wet for a little bit. So your wood would keep moving if you tried to put your nail through, and you don't want it moving because then you're going to have a crooked leg on your riser. Sorry for Hank walking around here. So I put 3 nails in there. Aren't these easy, you guys? And this doesn't, I mean, like, even if I were to buy this wood at the store and didn't have the scraps, this would not cost a lot. I mean, if you got an 8-foot piece, imagine how many of these you can make. So we're doing the same thing for this other one. I'm trying to make sure that I keep those rough sides of these 2x2s, which I'm using for the legs, facing outwards. This is helping with the color matching, and I really want these to be super distressed. Now that those are completely done, I'm going to take this natural wax from Minwax. My friend, you guys, dropped this off at my house when she moved like a year ago, and it's been sitting in my garage. I finally read up on it, and it says it's good to use over stained projects, painted projects. You just wouldn't want to use it on a project that needs a hard finish, like example, a coffee table where you're going to put drinks and be hard on the surface. These are going to be for decorative use, so I don't find that I need to put like a polyacrylic or a spar urethane on top of it, but you do you, and you choose how you want to finish these off. These are also fun, you guys, because you can put like monograms on top of these. You can put little sayings, doesn't matter. So now to finish this off, to show you how I would present it as a gift, I get some burlap ribbon. This does not have wire in it. I'm going to tie it in a tight knot. Now at first I did try tying it in a bow, but it was too bulky by tying it in a bow. So what I did is I took the burlap ribbon and I looped it underneath so it looked like a bow without that bulkiness. And these turned out so beautiful. You guys, look at how gorgeous these are. These are for sale on my website, and I will be making more of them in different colored duos. But you guys, these are so affordable to make. You can go to Home Depot. They can cut wood for you, so you do not need power tools of your own. And I hope they inspire you to make some gifts this year. Okay, you guys, real quick, real time, want to show you. Obviously, this piece of wood is warped. I mean, you're going to find wood like that, and depending on how you store it, wood can warp over time. So, no problem. Don't worry about that crack. It doesn't go all the way through. Not going to hurt anything. So, we obviously can't set it like this, because if it's a tray, then it's not going to be sitting flush. And do you see how it's going to move? So, we need to make sure that it is sitting with the curve downwards, because then what you're going to have is it's sitting on the ends right here and the sides, so you can still use it to hold things and it's not going to roll away, like you could see that. Okay, so now let's get into the Cricut. Okay, so over here I'm going to come to my shapes. I'm going to grab a square. I'm going to unlock up top, and I am going to change this to the dimensions of our piece of wood. So I always do this. If you guys have seen my Cricut videos, you guys know that this is how I always set up my graphics. Then I search in Aztec, and you can see there's all these beautiful patterns. Even people make patterns and share them to the Cricut community. I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to flip it to a 90-degree angle. And now for me, you see how the sides are flat? I want those to go all the way to the end of our wood piece. So I'm going to stretch that out, resize it. I'm going to hide this rectangle because we don't need to cut this out. And then I'm going to do make it. I'm going to use my mat, and I'm going to use stencil vinyl. So I move that on over. And then I'm going to do stencil vinyl. For me, I'm doing less pressure only because I have a new blade in. And then I'm going to get that stencil vinyl on a standard grip mat and feed that through my Cricut Maker 3. Super easy. Now I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to place it on my, you could see it's a raw piece of wood. I have not done anything to this yet. And I'm going to butt those, the right side and the left side. Look at how perfect that fit on this piece of wood. I sized this to the T. Okay. And then I am going to just peel back that transfer tape. And now we are going to do the polyacrylic method. This is polyacrylic. It is water-based. I've done this once before, but it was a super small section. So I wanted to try this on a bigger piece with a way darker color. So what I'm doing is I get my sponge paintbrush. What do you call these? Sponge? I don't know. Anyways, I chose to use the sponge because I didn't want brush strokes. And I'm just going over and putting that over my stencil. So any of the piece of wood that's showing is where we want to put it. I'm not oversaturating it, but I am putting a good coat of this on there. Then I'm going to use my heat gun. I put it on my cool setting. This heat gun is in my Amazon store for you. And then I am going to peel this back just like if we painted it, okay? You don't see anything right now, but I'm going to show you how it looks. Do you see that? How you could see the shadow of that polyacrylic? That's exactly what we want here. Now I'm going to take True Black. I think this one's by Minwax. I take my microfiber cloth and I start rubbing that over. Now, at first I was like, oh my gosh, you can't see it that well. But as the wood starts soaking up that wood stain, it starts coming to life. Like, do you see that? Do you see that beautiful image? Oh my gosh. So after I'm done applying it all over the piece of wood, I take a dry microfiber cloth and I'm wiping the excess of the stain off. And then you can really see where we put that polyacrylic. Y'all, this is like the sexiest thing I've ever made on this channel. Yes, sexy. I feel like it looks like a printed piece, like a printed nylon. Like it's gorgeous. All right, then I'm using that same wax. This wax does dry flat, which I was all about. Now I'm going to take this measuring tape and I am just going to determine the size of what I want my handle straps to be. So we're going to take you could leave it just like this. This could be a beautiful trait on its own, but I want to make it look a little snazzy. So I head back to my Cricut, I hit that square, and then I'm going to make this a longer rectangle. Now I wasn't sure if I wanted the handles to be 1.5 or 1 inch in width because it is a really bulky piece of wood. So I made 2 sets just in case, you never know. So I'm going to go to make it, and then I am going to go to my materials. So it says browse materials. I'm going to type in faux suede, and then I'm going to click that Cricut version. It's just telling you to move the little rollers off to the side, and you guys don't even need to switch your blades. You use the blade it comes with. And now you'll see, so these are the little rollers. It's telling me I need to move over to the side. Make sure you move them back after you're done. And then I am going to take the faux suede. This is also from Cricut. It's like the little sampler pack. And I'm going to take my strong grip mat. Few pieces of tape just to make sure that this does not go anywhere once I feed it into my Maker 3. So now I'm just going to load it in, feed it, press the little play button, and now we have ourselves the cutest little handles. So I decided on the 1.5 inch. Which one would you guys have done? The 1 inch or the bigger ones? I thought the bigger ones were more appropriate for how like beefy this piece of wood was. So that's what I decided to go with. So now I'm going to use the 1 inch as a marker. So I'm going to go in 1 inch on each side. I measure the top and the bottom to make sure I know where I want the handles to sit. Now I'm going to take these furniture tacks, and this was hard. I mean, you can't really get these super like straight across from each other, but you know what? These things are handmade. So to me, I would find beauty in that. I mean, I wouldn't want it to be perfect and look like a factory made it, in my opinion. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the right side of this handle. And then we'll do the same thing for the left side, you guys. And then this tray is completed, and I think it looks great. This is a fun way of using your Cricut to take some scrap wood and make it a gorgeous piece to either keep for yourself, give as a gift for Christmas, or start selling them online or in a booth. But like I said, this is the sexiest thing I've ever made. And I told my husband, I don't know if I want to keep it or list it on the website, because this is definitely like my whole vibe right now. Recording this in the morning if you couldn't tell. Next I'm going to take this one is a 2x10, and I cut this in, like, we'll just say a 10x10. I'm using Hazelnut by Waverly and a baby cloth to stain this. This is a great way if you are in a time crunch or you don't have the time for oil-based stains to dry. Use this method because you can apply your heat gun to it and it dries super fast. So after this is dry, I'm going to take, you guys, Orchid Designs came out with a cheetah stamp, and y'all know I was about that. I get mine from Vonda at thepaintedheirloom.com, and I always leave her link down in the description box. So now I'm taking a sanding block, and I'm just prepping this. I've never used it before, so I'm prepping this to be used. Now, this is a 12 by 12 sheet, and I've never worked with a 12 by 12 sheet before, so it was a little harder for me, and I think I need more practice with it. I used my black ink on this, but my holdup was I didn't really know what part of the cheetah was going where, so it was hard for me to apply. And then because I didn't really know where I was going with it, I didn't put that much ink on it. So you'll see it as I lift it up. Like, do you see that? Now, it almost looks like I smeared it, but I didn't, because it's supposed to look like actual fur. And I just didn't press, like put enough ink on there and press it correctly. And then I tried it again on this side, and me being a scaredy cat, I again didn't put that much ink on it. And then yeah, so I wasn't happy with that, but I made it work. So I take some painter's tape, and I'm going to put that across this piece of wood, and I'm going to take Black by Waverly, and I'm going to cover that piece up. The left side didn't look that bad. It did look like cheetah. The bottom right, I didn't think was that good. So after I take that off, I'm going to find the middle point of my piece of wood. I did take this outside first and clear it with Clear Matte by Rust-Oleum. I mark my halfway point there. I'm taking this black clip, and I'm going to screw that in. Then I will take black chalk paint by Waverly, cover that black up, and you guys, that's it. That's it. Did you see how easy this is? And you can make this your own by using different colors, different stamps. Instead of the cheetah, you can decoupage with like a napkin or tissue paper, or keep the cheetah off and just do the sleek black on the bottom right. And this is gorgeous. And you could put a family photo in of your family and give it to family and friends. Doesn't matter. Okay, so here we are. These are the Hobby Lobby wood rounds. They are plywood, and they come 3 in a pack for $12.99. Now y'all do the math. 3 divided by $12.99, but not even $12.99. When they are 50% off, that is only $6.50 for 3 wood rounds. And look at, these are actually pretty thick. I was surprised. I thought they were going to be more like the Dollar Tree wood rounds, but I knew I needed to try these out for y'all that cannot find the 1-inch ones in your hardware store. So we're going to try them out a couple different ways here. So my first way, we are going to just put paint directly on here. I'm using my sponge roller, and I'm using linen white chalk paint by Rust-Oleum. I'm going to hit the front, the back, and the sides of this. Now, I will say, make sure when you're doing this that you check which, there's a smooth side and there's a rough side. Make sure you're working on that smooth side. Now I am taking the stencil that I made. I will have these SVG files available for purchase on my website, linked in the description box, and a couple of these available for free for my members. So I sized this to fit perfectly on this wood round. These rounds are 14.02 by 14.02. Now I'm going to tape it off, and silly me decided to get my stencil brush and stencil all of this. Why, you ask? I do not know. I should have got my sponge roller and did it that way, because this took a lengthy amount of time when I could have just rolled it on and been good. So after I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this is Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl. Most of the stuff I use on my wood rounds you can find in my Amazon store, link in the description box. Okay, we're going to dry that down. Now I'm going to take my second stencil, and I'm going to take Vintage Green by Folk Art, and I'm going to stencil that on. This was a smaller section, so I didn't mind using the stencil brush. And we're going to let that dry. I do 2 coats of this one, but I wanted to see how the different like paint versus stain versus sanding worked with these wood rounds. So hopefully I could give you a lot of information. I will say I would definitely use these again. So after that is done, I'm going to go ahead and peel that off. Now I'm going to take this out to my garage. I'm going to spray it with Clear Matte by Rust-Oleum. You just need a light coat, dries super fast, and this is going to help from your paints smearing together. Because then after we're done with that, we are going to clear it with Spar Urethane water-based satin. And there is a difference between using a Spar Urethane. Spar Urethane is meant for outdoor use. It's going to help protect your piece against UV rays. It's going to help against the humidity, water, all of that stuff. So if this is going to go outside, that is why you want to use Spar Urethane. Polyacrylic is meant for indoor use. So keep that in mind when you're clearing your pieces. Now, I have always used a chip brush to clear my pieces. You can use a sponge roller as well, because since this is water-based, it is just going to wash right out of whatever you use to apply it. Again, I've just always used chip brushes, so, you know, don't fix nothing that ain't broken kind of thing for me. So I'm going to do 2 coats to the front and 2 coats to the back. I'm going to do this with all of our signs today, and I'm not going to make you watch me do that multiple times. So just putting it out there for you guys. So you can see none of my colors are bleeding together. They still look crisp and perfect. Now I'm going to flip this around. I used 1/4 of an inch staples, and they did great. They did not go through the wood round. And like I said, these are so light, you guys. These are not like the heavy duty 1-inch rounds from Home Depot. These are very lightweight. These will be great if you like to ship your wood rounds, or even just send some to family members, and easy to like pack if you do craft fairs and things like that. So awesome. So I'm going to staple these on. And then we're going to work on our bow. So I'm taking this little wood Christmas piece. This is the like wood stickers from Dollar Tree. I'm going to give that 2 coats with the vintage green. Then I'm going to take the tail end of this paintbrush, and I'm just going to put some red dots on our tree and then clear it. Now I'm going to take what I call my cheer bow. It's a very basic bow. I've done it quite a few times on my channel. And I'm going to stick that little tree right in the center. I wanted to put a bow on this, but I didn't want it to take over the piece, because the fun part about this wood round is the whole cheetah Christmas tree vibe. So I'm going to staple that bow on, and then we're going to add one more element, which you guys have seen me do before. I'm going to take some twine, and I'm going to take my smaller beads. I'm going to twine 8 beads on this, tying both ends off at a knot. Now make sure your twine is a little bit longer, because we want a space in the middle. So you can see I put 4 on each side. There is a space right in the middle. That didn't work. You couldn't see that. So I'm just going to tuck this up under the Christmas tree. So I put some hot glue in there. I get my silicone spatula, I push that up underneath the Christmas tree, and then it's just a cute little accessory. And I love the way this turned out. You guys know my whole vibe with cheetah, and if you are new, hello, my name is Sammy. I am addicted to cheetah, and I love the color combo. It worked out perfectly. Let me know what you think about this wood round down in the comments. Now, this one. Oh, I wanted to show you guys, that is a good way of saving your sponge roller if you know you're going to be working on more projects and you don't want to rinse it out. It lasts for a long time. So this one we're going to stain. So I'm using True Black by Minwax. I'm using my microfiber cloth, and I'm going to stain the front, the back, and the sides. I will say it absorbed the stain very well. I did apply my heat gun to it, and it did actually dry a lot faster than the 1-inch rounds do. And I think that's because it kind of like sucked up that wood stain. So after I'm done with that, remember to make sure there is a smooth side and there's a rougher side. The baby's in her jumper, so if you hear her, that's what's going on. All right, now I made this using my Cricut. Again, SVG's files are available on the website. And what I'm going to do here is I am going to line this up using my measuring mat. And this is how I'm going to space out where my Merry Christmas is going to go. So you can see I'm just holding, I don't have the tape down on the stencil. I'm just holding it above. And I'm figuring out how thick of a line I need to make to fit that Merry Christmas. Now, usually I would paint it first and then design around that, but I had already made this and it's super easy to do. Hi, Nug. So again, you could see I'm using the lines of my measuring mat. Usually with the bigger rounds, they're glued panels of wood, so there are already straight lines there for you. These, obviously there's no lines, so I had to think of a way to get straight lines, and I used my measuring mat. Turned out absolutely perfect. Now I'm taking Crimson Red by Waverly, and we're going to give this 2 coats, and then we're going to move on to our next step. I did try a new painter's tape. I think this is just the Duck, is it Duck Command brand or Duck brand? And it actually worked pretty well, and it's less expensive than the automotive tape that I usually use. So a great alternative. And I think I just got this at like Home Depot or something. And look, you guys, this is literally 2.5 days later, and my sponge is still wet and ready to rock and roll. Okay, break time. Okay, we switched over to the play mat, so let's see how long this lasts. All right, now I'm gonna lay my stencil. And you guys, when I'm saying stencil, this is stencil vinyl. This is not a reusable stencil. If you wanted a reusable stencil, you need to use like a folder divider or the Mylar film, which I still need to add to my Amazon store. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm so bad at this stuff. All right, so after I'm done, what we're testing out here is I wanted to see if the stencil vinyl was going to splinter the wood, because that's something common that happens with plywood rounds, and that's why I don't usually use them. So I did 2 coats of white linen over this, and then I start peeling my stencil vinyl off. Now I will say, just move with the grain of the plywood, and you should not have any splintering. I did not have 1 splinter on this one. I will say right here, I feel like I haven't used white in a long time on a wood round. You are gonna see a bunch of flaking happen with white chalk paint. You do not want to leave that on your board. You can see I have a chippy brush that I'm using to brush away that excess, because if you accidentally rub your finger on that, it's going to be like smeared paint, and you do not want that happening. Even on the bottom of it, like if you have flakes on the bottom, set your wood round on top, it's going to smear like paint, and then it's not going to be pretty. Now, our bow here, I did 3 loops. I cut 2 slits on each side, tied it together. Y'all, I don't like this bow. I don't, you know, when you know how to do something and then you start thinking way too hard about it, and then it comes out not what you're capable of. That was this. So I end up just doing 2 of the black and white ribbon and then the gold in the middle. I do not like this. I don't know if it was like the texture of like the ribbon, or I was just overthinking it, but it's not my favorite bow I've ever done. So let me know what you guys think about the bow. I do like its simplicity, but it just looks like an afterthought maybe. Is that what I'm thinking? I don't know. You guys let me know. Do you like the color combo? And that's what's fun about all these wood rounds, is you can make them any color you want. I mean, the stencil is there. You guys create what you want. This one, I stained this one Early American. Then I'm going to use my measuring mat again to get my straight lines across. I'm using this very thin automotive tape. My brother uses it for pinstriping. And I am going to put that every 2 inches. What we're going to do here is create a faux like shiplap look without using a pencil or a marker. So I'm going to carry that all the way up to our sign, and you can space these out however you want. I just thought the 2-inch looked good on this. So after we're done with that, I'm going to grab Crimson Red once again, and I am going to paint that on top. I end up just doing one coat because I don't mind seeing a little, a little bit of the wood coming through on this. And then what do I do? I don't know. I don't know what I do. But anyways, this is the one, by the way, that I tried taking outside. I sanded with a 220 grit sandpaper, and all it did was make the splintering 10 times worse. So do not sand these wood rounds at all. Now I'm going to take that tape off. You can see how beautiful this looks. That wood popping through those slats. I love it. Now I'm going to take It's Mary AF in here. This ended up being my husband's favorite one. Surprise, surprise. And I'm going to smooth that down, and then we are going to take our transfer tape off. I'm using Transfer Ease vinyl tape. And let me tell you, this is by far my most favorite transfer tape that I have ever used. It is like the perfect combination of sticky but not sticky. The only thing that doesn't work is usually if you have like white vinyl under it, it's kind of hard to see through it. But now I'm going to take that linen white. Woo, this looks like a hot mess, but I was just using what I had to cover it up so I didn't make a mess, even though it looks like a mess. So 2 coats of the white linen, then we're going to take it off. Now this is one that I did splinter, and that is because instead of going towards the left, like the grain of, like towards the grain of the wood, I go up or like down on the I and the T, and I end up splintering the I. I try and show it to you in this clip, but see it right there? See, you know, and you guys know me with my wood rounds. I want them to be perfect. So I end up just touching that up later. Now I'm going to take the second stencil. I'm going to use black ink. And for this, I'm just using a paintbrush and applying light coats with it. Ended up working out great. I didn't have any bleeds whatsoever. Then for our Christmas lights, I am going to use, I think this is Nautical by Folk Art. And for each color, I'm going to do 2 coats. Then I take Maisie by Waverly. We're going to do Pumpkin by Waverly. And then this green is, I don't know what color. It's like the brighter green from Waverly, starts with an M. I'm not going to even try to pronounce it. And then you guys, again, we clear it, we staple the twine to the back of it, and that's it. I left this one in all its glory. I did not think it needed anything else. This would look good if there was like wood cutouts of the lights up top to kind of pop out. I think that would be super cute, but I don't think it needed anything else here. Now our next one is going to be a porch leaner. So many of you might have seen me already make this. I will attach the video down in the description box. And when I made it, I knew I wanted to put something on the opposite side. I just didn't have the time. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to take the staples out of the back. Super easy to do. I'm just using some pliers. I'm going to take all the twine off. Then I'm going to grab a sanding block and just kind of like scuff over the wood to get any like debris off because it was outside on my porch. And then I'm going to clean that off. Now I'm going to take some painter's tape and I'm going to tape off the edges. So we're creating basically a frame with our painter's tape. It's so easy to do and creates an upscale look without actually having to frame off your sign. So I do that all the way around. I'm using my finger as a guide. And then I'm going to take my white linen chalk paint and we are going to do 2 coats of this. I do dry in between coats on my cool setting using my heat gun. I do have that heat gun in my Amazon store link. Now I'm going to take that tape off. Look at how crisp and beautiful that looks. And as I go around, you'll see the frame start coming together. Now I'm taking, and I got some things to say. So I'm taking this is Arteza transfer tape. Don't like it. I was trying to use the remainder of it, but ain't gonna happen. Then I realized for the Cricut, if you guys remember in the past when I've made porch leaners, I had my silhouette and I concocted a measuring mat, a 48 inch. You guys, look at how hard this took. Do you see this? I had to pull with so much force to get this transfer tape off. And as I was pulling it off, it was pulling up the permanent vinyl. So I do not recommend buying this Arteza transfer tape. But back to what I was saying. The Cricut 3, if you do not have smart vinyl, you cannot cut more than 24 inches long. So I was trying to use my mat that I had like rigged together for my silhouette, and it would not accept it. So you know, if you don't have the smart vinyl, you can't cut more than 24 inches, which I did not know. So the only smart vinyl I had was white. And so that is why I'm using this white as my stencil, because I couldn't use my stencil vinyl. Then I taped it off. I used crimson red, and I did do 2 coats of this. I do not like the way that this permanent vinyl worked as a stencil. I got bleed through. I got some of the like paint chipped up with the vinyl. Just wasn't my favorite. Cricut does make stencil vinyl. However, I did not have a long enough sheet to cut this length. So hopefully that helps some of you guys out for future reference. All right, so now we're going to peel that off. I waited until it was dry. And then right here, I'm like already like, oh no. And this is my sign. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, horrible, but it probably is a sign I wouldn't have sold just because I was not happy. And it does look rustic. To somebody that doesn't do signs, they probably wouldn't even notice, but for me, I noticed. So now I'm going to take that twine that we took off. I'm stapling it to the side, which I really didn't have to do. I was just trying to find a way to cover up the staples, but we end up putting a bow and greenery on this anyway. So anywhere you put the staple, you're just going to have to put the greenery or the bow around that. Sorry about this awesome view I'm giving you guys. So make sure you wind that up super tight. Now I'm taking some ribbon from Hobby Lobby. I'm creating 3 loops. Once I do the 3 loops, I fold it in half. I'm going to cut a slit on both sides, making sure not to go too far in. After we do that, I grab about 5 more inches of ribbon, and I'm going to hot glue a cylinder shape together. This is going to be our middle. I'm then going to take a zip tie, layer those on top of each other, and then I'm going to squeeze that zip tie as hard as I can, and then I fluff it out, which you don't have to do because we're just going to flip it back over and flatten it anyways, but you know, work harder. And then I'm going to hot glue, this is just a hair clip, to the back of this. And I added a Hobby Lobby pick that I think was like $2.50, and it, oh my gosh, you guys, look at how perfect that pick is. Oh my gosh, looks so good. I love the bow, goes with the red. I love the saying, which I don't even think I shared with you. It says all roads lead home. That would be, this saying would be so cute with like red truck ribbon. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired you, and I hope. Since you won't sit down by yourself for a little bit, you have to be in it with me. All right, we're gonna make this. Are you just totally focused on yourself? Hello. Okay, let's do this. Do. You're so funny. Okay. All right, what's this? What's that? Wait. Hi. No. 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 Oh. So it's like, well, what are you doing? Okay, let's go.
Nom nom.
I tried covering it with box dye and needed my husband's assistance, and I still missed like a big gray spot right there. Okay. And it's supposed to be like deep burgundy. Do you guys see any of that? Besides my like, oh, kind of in the sunshine, hey? All right, y'all. I hope you guys are just as excited. I say y'all and then I say you guys. That makes no freaking sense. Hello. How is everybody doing? Today has been a day. All right, gotta get my energy. How do you like my shirt I made? Cute, right? I like them real thick and sprucey. I was gonna say juicy, I was. Mo, don't look at me like that. Is it too early to wear this like out in public? I don't think so. I'm already watching Edward Scissorhands, okay? Edward Scissorhands is a Christmas movie to me. Okay, I said it. Can I just say I always think this black wall is a part of the camera. Like, it's like, but it's just the wall. Okay. Nugs is starting to play with stuff. See her? She's rolling over on her side and she's starting to grab. She just turned 4 months. I can't believe it's been that long. Then you got that guy in the way. And then we got that one and that one. And baby stuff everywhere. Okay, let's record this. Roll with it, die with it, down with it. Why can't I live this life? Yeah, I know. You get to live here rent-free. You get fed every morning. Get to go out, do whatever you want. Jealous. Okay. Edward Scissorhands. What are you looking at, fool? Huh? What are you looking at? Don't wag your tail at me. Don't do it. Don't. Oh, dang it. I know. Okay, let's not slobber on me. Let me get this done. Can you move over? Okay. No, you're gonna get me dirty. All you're doing is stretching on me. And okay, I have stuff on my lips. Okay. You drooled on me. Sorry about my background. I'm starting to take things down. I'm starting to take things down. It doesn't look like I took anything down except a sign. Okay. But I need to take 2. Okay, baby. Quiet. Anik, thank you so much for the baby gifts. We appreciate it so very much. And Paige, but this is our second one because you know I added it to the registry, and then she surprised us because of my cheetah obsession, and she got the 2 big kids something too. So thank you so much, Paige, for that. Excuse me, miss.
Are you talking?
Hey.
Missy. Montgomery. Montgomery. And now she's quiet. All I can think of right now is that gif of, gosh, I don't know what TV show it is, but where she like does the, and she has the Christmas hat on. No, just me. Okay. All right, take 3. We are doing this.